What's up, and welcome back to the channel. You are listening to Ninja Night. Thank you for being here on this Friday night. Got a lot to talk about here tonight, and hopefully, what I'm going to do is, and if I could get a couple of people in the chat now, Derek McManus, will you just keep up to date with me when I switch over to Twitter and see if those Twitter videos are causing any issue later on? If you'd let me know if they're causing issue straight away, that'd be great. I'd really appreciate that. So before we get into that, I'll be showing you what's going on Gab. Gab is as I said before, a free speech platform, and I'm absolutely loving it over there. But what Gab have decided to do in their infinite wisdom is they've decided to say, well, we're going to have to do a maintenance update of the site, so you can't upload pictures and videos there right now. So that's a great idea. So what I have to do is I had to go and look at Twitter tonight if we're going to be having a look at any videos. Should be covering all the topics here tonight, though. If it is cut short or anything like that as well, I'll be talking around things, and I've got stuff bookmarked on Twitter that I want to be talking about. So also known as X as well. People will be like, what's Twitter? What's Twitter? So there's an awful lot going on over there. We're after seeing a huge pushback upon the government over the last couple of weeks, and indeed in the referendum. I think that was hugely important, and I think that's only a week ago now. No, not a lot of people were reaching out and saying to me, you're going to do a video, Ninja, you're going to do a live stream after that. And I said, no. I said, what I'll do is I'll probably put out a video just thanking people first and foremost, because I think, it's like anything. When we've been talking about what's going on here in Ireland for the last number of years, I think what you're starting to see now, and you're starting to see populist, nationalist governments in particular grow an awful lot of legs across the world. And you're seeing, for example, you still have question marks about him, but the guy in Argentina is doing all the right things. He's getting rid of these NGOs. He's shutting down these things that are causing nothing but division. He has them back on track economically, which is a good thing. At the moment, it could all go Pete Tong, but at the moment, things are looking good there for Argentina, and they seem to have turned the corner. Other countries, we wait and see what happens there with regards to the likes of the Netherlands, Germany, Italy. Your woman there was a bit of a letdown, to say the very least, with what's gone on there. Everyone thought that she was going to be good, but ended up not being very good at all. So we wait and see what happens there. But I do feel that there's a changing of the guard right now. Another thing that's happening on Twitter right now is Jake Shields. If anyone doesn't know who he is, he's a former MMA fighter. With his ratioed Ben Shapiro in probably the greatest ratio of all time. I think it's something like 20 or 30,000 likes now. I think it's 30,000 likes last time I saw. And it's Shapiro throwing out the anti, to try and shut people down, and people are just not having it anymore. They're done. They're not having that sort of stuff be thrown at them and them shutting up. Candace Owens is also doing another good job. So that's just in a worldwide sense, and I'd like to be talking about what's going on throughout the world. What happened here in Ireland with regards to the referendum, in my opinion, now again, I'm only giving my opinions on these shows or anything like that. This isn't fact or anything like that when it comes to these things. I'm only telling you what I think. When you see what happened here last week, I think an awful lot of things happened. Look at it this way. And the way I like to look at it is, you had, what was it there? I think Mick O'Keefe or Toby, I think one of the lads, if not the both of them, were talking about it. Over 20 million euro splattered out for that yes nonsense last week. So that is 20 million euro down the drain. Now, in my opinion, I was talking to a couple of different people, and they were speaking their minds, and I think that's really interesting. They were saying that the likes of the government, they actually shouldn't be able to influence you one way or the other. They should be putting the stuff out. And now again, I'm looking at that going, well, here's the thing. These are the people that are introducing that stuff. And if they're not introducing it, they're doing it through NGOs. And they're the ones that are coming to them, and they're doing it. Like, most people didn't want that erased, which was clear from last week. You had a small proportion that did. Now, I mean small. Dunleary, I think, was it. And Mick O'Keefe has been on Twitter there earlier on. He's showing that they're going to have a few new locals into Dunleary, few new guys that are there, hailing from, of course, the blue and yellow flag waving country, allegedly, respectively, but they seem to have a bit of a tan, if you know what I'm saying. So Dunleary was the only place that decided that it was a good idea to change things up, which was a ridiculous idea in itself. But I think what happened was an overwhelming amount of people decided that they're angry at the government. You're seeing worldwide media attention. When I say media attention, I mean new media. I don't mean the old legacy media, because that's done. That's finished. Nobody cares about it anymore. And I think what you saw then was last week, people that were able to defeat a million euro machine, I should say, with memes. Simple as. And I'm after seeing a lot of videos there. I saw a video there during the week of politicians being run from people's doors, been run from the roads. And again, here's the thing. people are having their say with these politicians, and a lot of these politicians don't know how to counter any of the comments people are making. Like, people understand about the forum, they understand about the scams that have been pulled over the last couple of years, they understand about the open border policy, they understand that the open border policy has created problems like the housing crisis, the health crisis, all of these, well, the health service crisis, I should say, and many other issues then, like crime. Like, these are all intrinsically linked, and to say otherwise is a complete and utter lie. And you see, here's the thing, and I know I'm going on a bit of a ramble here at the beginning of the show, but this is what it kind of is an awful lot of the time. But what you have is, you've got people that have, for example, got themselves set in life. And I just want to speak to those people there, because this is what I want you to understand. You've got people that have themselves set in life, and they have their house and stuff like that, and they tell you, we bought it 30 years ago and it was £20,000. Great, that's great for you, it is. But here's what's happening now with the likes of these people coming into the country. What's happening is a supply and demand issue, which means, as I said before, and I'll reiterate again, this is why house prices have ballooned to 300,000 to 400,000. I saw a house, lads, I think I was talking about it there a couple of weeks ago, and I just reiterate it again because I have to keep going back at it. There was a house in Dean's Grange, and I mean, not even a house, I wouldn't call it, I mean, that's probably speaking out of turn to anyone that lives in a bungalow, but anyway, it was a bungalow, right? And not to be dismissive too much of bungalows right now, that they're small, they're compact, the whole lot. €675,000 they were looking for. Now, that's a place that's had an awful lot of problems over the last couple of years, insofar as they want to demolish part of the road there to get into the likes of the cemetery. They wanted to do all sorts of ridiculous things there. They wanted to create all sorts of weirdo Green Party policy things on that road. There was uproar for the last couple of years. And you were telling me now a bungalow was worth over €500,000. This is part and parcel as to what the problem is. And for anyone that doesn't know as well too, there has been councils, allegedly, spectively, that have been alleged to have been buying properties in the hundreds of thousands and then letting them out then to people that are not of this land. So that's another allegation that's had to be made about these places. So that's not good whatsoever either. And then you have that lad there, is a James Connolly there, that's across there in the West, as they say, for the Irish Freedom Party. Like, he's doing a great job with his postings, and I really like what he's doing there. And you've got people now that have woken up to what's going on here in this country, and they've said, well, the root cause of everything that's going on is, like, here's the thing. This whole thing of calling someone racist and all that doesn't work anymore. Because a lot of people are just like, well, hang on here. Here's the fiscal irresponsibility here that's been shown by the government, which is you're telling people they're going to come in with €220, is it a week, something like that? Someone was reporting that recently. I think it might have been Mick O'Keefe. €220. We're actually the highest, the country that's given out the highest amounts to people. Other countries are giving out far less. So all these people, of course, are going to come here. And then added to the fact then, you've got the likes of the media who aren't on our side. You've got Adon or Reardon there that's running around Tent City there. It's become like San Francisco, it is in Dublin city centre. And you've got this guy running down going, look at these people, look at these poor people. I don't give a fiddlers about them. They made their choice to come here to this country. They should be in their own country. And I don't think that these people should be taking houses or taking any sort of services from our country before our own people. We've 14,000 homeless here. And as I keep saying, and this is the trope that keeps getting thrown back at you, people go, well, why don't you house the homeless? That isn't my objective. That should be the objective of the state. That's the purpose of the state. That's why an awful lot of people are out there working and they pay taxes for those people that are less well off to be looked after. That's the whole idea. You have potholes in the road there. You can stand in the potholes in the road there. They're 5 and 6 feet tall. It's unbelievable. Again, now that's probably an exaggeration there, but they're very large potholes to say the very least. And then you've got them people that are running around governments that haven't been investigated by people in uniforms, and they should be. Because how is it that we have a country where you have Roderick O'Gorman running around there who's still overseeing his department, saying and doing ridiculous things, and there has been no formal investigation into him? Here's the thing, and what I'm going to say to you, and this is going to show you, and again, it's spoiler alert here, lads, just so you know, because they're after saying now that they're going for local and European elections now in June 7th it is. What do you think is going to happen here now? This country is definitely going to get behind people that are going to be very much so close to borders. And this is the thing, migration policies now are going to be huge. What are you going to start saying? And we only saw it 24 to 48 hours ago. There was media articles out trying to smear Derek Bloig, saying he's been sued by someone. Derek Bloig put out a great video and he's like, anyway, I'll show the video once I get around to Twitter. Hopefully I'll be able to get it on over there. if there should be no messing anyway with Brill look. But anyway, he was laughing at it, essentially. And that's what they are going to do. Now, I just want to put your wide to that. This is the exact same thing that they're doing across the world. The media are attacking people that are very interested in protecting their own country and will do so for the years that these people are indeed in power. What I think I'm seeing right now, if I'm being honest with you, I think you're starting to see a very Americanized, and when I'm saying Americanized, I think you're starting to see an Americanized media. I think they're starting to realize that things are going to go wrong for them. I think you're going to see now an overwhelming support for people here that have migration policies that don't align with the current regime. And I think you're going to see people getting in. And I think the media are taking a breather and allegedly, spectively, maybe getting briefings, allegedly, spectively, on what to do if these people do then get in. You've seen the attacks that they've made upon Philip Dwyer. You've seen the attacks that they've made upon Gavin Pepper. You've seen the attacks that they've made upon Derek Bloig, Fergus Power as well too, and Mick O'Keefe. You've seen all of these things play out, and you've seen the groundwork be done in the Dáil as well too by these people to then go at this sort of nonsense then with these people getting in. And again, I would love to see these guys get in. And I think, again, when you're looking at, for example, I saw a great video during the week, and it was from the PBD Patrick Bet David podcast. If you haven't seen it, have a look at it. But he does a very good job there, and he's talking away, and there's a guy that's sitting beside him, and of course he's part of the what shall we say, the Ben Stiller and Seth Rogen group, if you understand, if you catch the drift there on that one. And he was talking to these guys, and he says, like, how are they successful in business? And these guys go, well, yeah, if one of us gets rich, 5 of us gets rich. We don't just insulate ourselves and go, no, it's just me. They look after their own people. And that's something, again, it was something that struck me yet again, because I said to myself, that's exactly what needs to be said across on this side of the fence. What needs to be happening is guys need to be sitting down, because this is what the establishment do. This is what the apparatus do. They sit down and they pick constituencies, allegedly, spectively. That's what needs to be happening on their side of the fence. People need to be sitting down and pointing out things that they can win and places that they can win. And I think that that's the way to take it back. The referendum, I think, was an overwhelming majority of people that said no thanks to both of them. And I think what ended up happening there, I think through the likes of social media, through the internet, which blam out the whole thing, and the government's own ineptitude with the likes of, for example, Maria Steen did a great job there in eviscerating the argument that Micheál Martin tried to give. Thought she did a great job there. And there was someone that put up a picture there during the week, and they showed Maria Steen there, who was at Dublin Castle, who was celebrating. And then they showed a picture then of beside of it Hazel Chew, who was running around delighted with life there when Repeal the 8th happened. You get me? Do you understand what I'm saying there? Like, there's the difference between people. And then Maria Steen then was saying, what a great Mother's Day present. You know what I mean? There's the difference in people that you have running around these circles. Hazel Chew was looking to be re-elected. I would ask everybody and anybody to do everything in your power to ensure that that is a person that never sees political office ever again, democratically and legally is what I'm talking about there. That person should not receive one vote, and ensure that nobody gives that person a vote. If you can, please and thank you. And again, all I'm asking is for you to exercise your democratic rights, which is a person that has been saying very negative and wholly negative things to the Irish people for the last couple of years. I don't think is someone that's fit to be serving public office for the Irish people. I don't think she's representative of us at all. Quick speak there. So a lot of people have been asking me what do they think of the referendum. Good result. But like I said, I think an overwhelming majority of people, I think what happened was, if I'm being honest, I think it wasn't close. And that's what I'm saying about elections coming up and going forward. You cannot have, it's like UFC. You cannot be the champion and be a challenger and have the challenger make it a close fight and not finish it. In UFC, more often than not, if you're the challenger, you have to finish the fight. You cannot leave it to the judges, because they will side most of the time with the champion unless the champion has been poked around for a good 25 minutes. So that's what I'm saying. You cannot leave it. And even at that, I've seen champions that have been poked around for 25 minutes and still have gotten the W. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of people would be like, how did that happen? You have to make it a unanimous decision, and a decision that is final. And that is my opinion. I think what happened there last week, I think a lot of people went down and said no thanks to that. And I think that's what the regime, I think the apparatus are afraid of. They're afraid of questions like the ones that I do ask and you do ask yourselves, which are like, Do you know anybody that votes for the Green Party? What's going on here with this thing? Jumping all over the place. Apologies there, guys. Technical issues here now on this thing. Hopefully it's coming back here into play. Just give me a thumbs up there if you can hear me. Always the same with this thing, it is, you know. Definite interference happening here on this channel. Trying to click across there on the comments, and it absolutely froze to bits. Which is the funny thing as well too, because obviously this is the fourth evening that I've been told people have been saying, "Oh no, I'm about to get a notification for that." I don't know whether it was the timing of it or what the crack was. Well, someone hit me with a thumbs up or anything like that if you can hear me, because all I can see here is the circle and it's flashing. Just give me a second there. Gonzo Productions. Let's have a look. Oh, you can hear you. Okay, all right, great. People can hear me. That's all right. You can see in the chat there. Right, yeah, definitely. There's definitely an issue happening here with the channel with regards to what's happening in the last couple of weeks. Ever since the Gavin Pepper interview, was really interesting. What did you think of that one, guys? Did you just like it? I thought he did a great job. Lovely guy, very nice fella. And I have to be honest with you again, like, you know, we were talking in the back, and he doesn't mind me saying this at all whatsoever. We were talking in the back beforehand and afterwards. Lovely guy. Really liked him. Thought he was a very nice fella. Thought he was very sincere. Thought he was very genuine. I think he's going to work hard. I think he's been doing great work and he's been working hard, you know. And I think what's important as well too is what I liked as well was people were thinking and questioning about certain things, and I was like, yeah, that's grand, absolutely no problem at all. Just so you know as well too, guys, right? When someone makes a comment about YouTube or comments or anything like that being removed, I'm not the one who does that. Just so you know, it's actually the platform itself. So sometimes you have to say things in a specific way. That's not my rules. That's the rules of the platform. They update policies here like there's no tomorrow, which is an absolute joke. And you know, it 1, 2. Okay, I'm getting on end of the line, Joel there, saying 5 by 5. Sean says thumbs up. Yeah, yeah, okay. There just hits me up straight and clipped again. I'm like, oh, not again. So anyway, where was I there? Yeah, great interview with Gavin Pepper there last time, 2 weeks ago now. So totally enjoyed it. I have to say, I thought he did a great job. I think he came across really well. It's again, like I said earlier on, I think guys like that need to be voted into. That's outrageous. The thing just dropped out again. It did. Yeah, it should be back now. Gremlins in the machine here this evening, guys. They're desperate to stop this. They are. Listen, hi to everybody out there that's trying to stop this stream and trying to stop this channel. I know very well that you're at it. I know that you're doing it. I know you're doing it because when I do videos and they go viral and they hit the likes of 5,000 and 6,000 views within a couple of minutes and in a couple of hours, I know that you're stopping them, by the way. Don't think that I don't know what you're doing. I know that when you're looking at the likes of streams, that you don't like the streams at all. And what ends up happening is then I've had little chats with YouTube in the last couple of weeks and I've told them how unhappy I am with the type of behavior that they've been doing. And I've been saying to them, listen, when I'm doing a stream with somebody and they're talking about what's going on here in Ireland, I think that should be listened to, and I think people should understand what's going on. They should hear from everybody. I think they should hear from people that are not being given a voice here on our side. And one thing I have to say that's been happening since then, which is a bit of a weird coincidence and a bit of weird timing. And I'm not saying I'm responsible for it at all. But what's weird is I've seen an awful lot of new channels that I have never seen before starting to be recommended to me, starting to pop up, and I'm starting to see them go viral. And I think that that's great. I think that's a brilliant thing to see. I would also say as well too, there's one individual out there that I've looked into so far that's also on YouTube that seems to be getting a lot of views. And some of the videos are good. We'll say they're done well, production is good and stuff like that. Obviously, this is Gonzo production. But when you're liking the tweets of Sinn Féin members, you know, I don't think I don't think you're an alternative whatsoever. I think you're being astroturfed into the place here. And seriously, what's happening here with this channel? So for anyone that's interested in anything like that, there's nobody behind me. There's nobody telling me what to do or what to say. I am super unpredictable. And, you know, I have to say, that's why I thoroughly enjoy the likes of the interviews, because these guys that do the interviews with me, they don't have to do it. And they do, because they don't know what's going to be asked of them. They know that I'm looking at the chat as well too, and I'm going to ask them what the chat are asking. And I have to give props to Gavin as well too for answering the questions that were asked of them in the chat, you know. And Satirical Soldier and Philip Dwyer. And hopefully you're going to have Fergus Power on soon. And I'm looking forward to that. That's going to be a good one, because getting talking to Ferg, you know, he's a guy that's very passionate about Ireland and someone that I think would do a good job in the doll. Anyway, we'll have that stream very soon. That's hopefully going to be the stream in 2 weeks' time. So we'll jump into the chat and I'll say hello to people as well, because I don't want to be ignoring anyone or anything like that here. I can see this thing is freezing up again. Should be okay though. I'm having a look in the chat now. Yeah, this is outrageous here tonight. Neither gremlins are in the machine. Era only B1014 says no foreign origin individual should be ruling over us in any capacity. Completely agree. You know, you're seeing people there that are coming from lands, and I'm going like, okay, right, you have all the answers, do you? And where are you hiding from? Nigeria? Okay. How come you didn't fix Nigeria? Why is it that you've come over to Ireland and you're deciding to tell Paddy what's what? I think Paddy's done okay. Paddy's done all right here. And we don't really need people that are coming from nations that get up to no good. And when I say get up to no good, I am going to give you an article here tonight that is going to show you something that's not been talked about. It's not been talked about widely. And we have Nigerian gangs here now in Ireland. This has been confirmed by the media. And to me, when you're looking at what they do over there, I'm going to say this to you. You're going to be prepared for some very outrageous stuff. And what has happened here in the country for the last number of decades is they have softened people up and have allowed them to do outrageous stuff. You know, I used to be talking to the parents when I was a young lad, and they'd be saying, like, as you get older, you become more conservative. And I was like, I don't know about that. I'm not sure about that. I'm way more conservative than they are. I'd be watching a TV show and I'm like, turned it off. And they're like, what? What was the TV show they recommended to me recently? Slow Horses, it was. and I was watching and I heard the words far right and anti, and I was like, I'm out, I'm done. I like Gary Oldman, but I'm not doing it. Just not interested. And they were like, no, we're on season 3 or whatever. I don't know how many seasons there is of it. I was like, no, I dipped out after the first episode, and they were like, what? And I was like, I'm not listening to that. I'm not interested. So they laugh sometimes, but like I'm like, no interest. So Sean's Everything Crafton says the watches are out in force. Derek Man says talk amongst yourselves, yourselves folks, as Ninja source the technical glitch. Much appreciated there. Chris Quirk, everyone accuses me of having Burger King and McDonald's Wi-Fi. It's actually not the case. It's Belgium Wi-Fi. Belgium put out a statement tomorrow. We totally disavow this channel and we've nothing to do with it. They totally do not have anything to do with this channel, just as you know. But my internet is actually quite good. I don't have an issue with it other than these streams. I'm not joking. Every single time. Zoe Gilday says they tried to slander Gavin Pepper about his properties, but like that just shows that he's shrewd and effective operating in a free market. That's more reason I want him in politics. That's a great comment, Zoe, because yeah, I have been looking and I've been saying that over the last couple of years that fiscal irresponsibility here by this government is absolutely criminal in my humble opinion. When you're sporting out 20 million to tell people to vote yes to erasing women from a constitution, I think that that's a stupid move. I also think that the likes of the voting machines was a stupid move. I think that these return machines are a stupid move. And yet still you're going to have these people that go, no, it's a great idea. Now the thing is, they're telling you that the return machines are doing great jobs because they're after getting 5.2 million or something like that receptacles. Would you say receptacles? Would we say that? Would we say bottles or whatever? But they're after receiving that and they're like, oh, we're doing a great job. And I'm like, at 25 cents to go, at 15 cents to go, someone's making a lot of money with regards to that there. And this is something that's had to been given to us. Now, I mean enforced upon us by Europe, by the EU. We need out of the EU ASAP, guys. Anyone that thinks that that's a good idea to be staying in the EU is either stupid or they haven't been watching what's going on. What else have we got there? Martin McAlonan says disappeared like Kate Middleton. That's another weird situation, isn't it? When you're saying that there, edited photos and all that. Anyway, I was watching someone there last week or the week before, and I don't really pay attention or anything like that when it comes to them because I just don't. And they were saying that Charles is very ill now at the moment, and there's someone else there a week or two ago that is no longer with us now as regards to Sudanese or something. And then they're like, Kate's gone on the missing list since December. I'm like, well, that's interesting timing. Yeah, that's interesting timing. That's happening there. I wonder if they took the stuff. I wonder. Anyway, Erda Force says, I was watching live streams of all sorts day, not once did this happen. Hardy Harris is a couple of euro for the meter. Throttle says John McAllister. Good to see 217 people in here tonight. So despite the efforts of whoever it is there, up yours, by the way, whoever's efforts that is to try and stop this here, you ain't going to stop this train anyway. And anyway, if you try to stop it on this platform, I'll just move on over to Rumble. That's exactly what will happen here. Saints and Scholar says the female SWAT team from Chile hit the wrong house again. End of the line. Joel says free. Am I saying Joel or Joel? What way should I say that? You let me know. Free Enoch, absolutely. Free Enoch is a big thing. You're seeing, for example, all of the weird stuff that's going on here, and you've got Enoch Buxton in prison. Anyway, I'll jump into the stories that I have tonight because I don't want to keep people too long from talking about like what's going on here on this platform and that. So we're going to boot up Gab here now, and we're going to go across it. So Gab, as you know, alternative media. It's great over here. You're saying what you want and you're doing as you please. These guys over, by the way, it's a surprise. See, do you know the interesting thing about Gab is it should be a haven for the likes of the left, for example, because these guys are saying, nah, we don't want to have any part with the country with the white and blue flag with the star upon it. We don't want anything to do with them. You should see a whole host of lefties over here, but they won't come over here because the speech is free, and this is the thing. They don't like the truth. They want to report you. I was actually, before I jump into this story here, because this will let you know where things are going. Before I jump into that there, I was locked out of Twitter. I was there 2 days ago for 12 hours for posting, right? This is insane. For posting on a fella who I assume it's a fella anyway, someone that spouts out of them about how they want to remember the 1940s to the 1950s, if you know what I'm saying there, particularly in Germany. And they want to keep spouting that stuff out, which is super interesting because I'm like, well, that's quite something because here's what's happening here in Ireland in current times. I don't really give a fiddler's what happened there before. And as things stand, I don't really believe things now, and that's where we're at now. I don't really believe when people say this happened and that happened in history, considering the fact that we're looking at things and real time here in the real world, and we're like, that's not true, that's not happening, and the media are openly lying to you. So I don't believe what happened in the past now, and that's a terrible thing to say, isn't it? It's a really sad thing to say. It's a very sad situation when you say that. No, we can't believe nothing. History's written by the victors. That's what my dad always said. So anyway, we'll jump into this here now, and I'll show you what's going on. So the Gardaí, I'm sure, are going to be accused by the left of being far right now. 7 immigrants discovered in a trailer at Rosslare Port. Now, that's not the first time that these type of things will be happening, and it won't be the last time these things are going to be happening, because what happened previously wasn't reported by Gript, wasn't it? Again, I'm open to correction on these things. I'm using my working memory when it comes from these things. I'm only talking about things that I happen to remember. But wasn't it an article by Gript that was done only a while ago that they were saying that there was a similar situation that occurred, and the Gardaí were like, nah, we're not really going to look into that there. Fellas absconding. And I was like, whoa. Now they're starting to look at these things. Or anyway, they're putting out statements saying they are. So that's great. And this is the thing and what I would like to see. I think Mick O'Keefe did it not too recently as well too. And it was putting up statistics of unsolved crimes. And I think the statistics from what I remember were actually quite high. I would actually love to see the breakdown in statistics like by each crime and see how many of them are actually unsolved here in this country. I think that would be fascinating. Now, that wouldn't make for good reading for the likes of the Justice Minister, the justice system, or anything like that, or the Gardaí themselves. So they probably wouldn't love to do that. But I think that would be an interesting thing to do. And I think that if you had a functioning democracy and a functioning society here, that's exactly what we would be doing. We'd be like, here's how many of these things happened. Here's how many of them were solved. Here's how many of them were unsolved. And it'd give you a bigger picture as to what's happening. So 7 immigrants discovered in trailer at Rosslare Port. 7 immigrants were discovered in a trailer at Rosslare Europort in County Wexford this morning. Gardaí said that they are investigating possible immigration offences in connection with the discovery. So when are they getting bounced out of the country? Because if these guys are in a trailer, here's the thing, right? There's people that are out there that will say, oh, these guys are desperate and they're making their way across because things are bad. Well, here's the thing. If they have passports and they're not up to any shady activity, they will make their way across the places, no problem at all. When you're doing things like this, and this isn't just a one-off event, all right? These are events that are happening all the time in lots of different countries around the world, and you best believe that they're happening here probably an awful lot of the time, allegedly, respectively. These guys doing this is showing you a wholly negative side as to what we're seeing here, which means that they are not really interested in going through these things. I mean, here's the thing, right? You were looking at, for example, and this is something that someone said there recently, and I don't know who it was that said it, but I thought it was a great comment. And it was like, the government, along with the Greens, can bring in the return nonsense they can over the course of 24 hours. Hang on 1 second there, am I good? Derek Man says, man, they're dropping again. Don't tell me I've dropped again. Hang on, I go into the studio, make sure it's good. Okay, I'm good. I can see myself. Derek Man is typing. He's like, no, you're still good. Anyway, what was I saying there? So the Green Party, for example, here's the thing, by the way, guys, if you're trying to disturb the stream, I will generally remember where I was and I will continue the point. So the Green Party, over the course of 24 hours, are able to decide, yeah, guess what, guys, you're going to have to return your plastic bottles and your cans. But guess what they can't do? They can't have people checking trailers when they're coming into the country. Now, someone might say, listen, Ninja, that's logistically impossible there. That's a very difficult thing to do. Are these things not like scat? I know, again, I don't know. And again, see, this is the thing. I'm only giving ideas here. So you're able to roll out throughout the country a return scheme through multiple different outlets and multiple different shops there that you could put these things into. Should you not have, I don't know, I'm thinking of the Predator here, lads. You know, someone's going to be like, what? He's talking about in the 1980s maybe. I'm thinking of the Predator here. Is there not like an infrared thing that these trailers pass through? Should that not be something that should be actually implemented? Like, you know, I'm just spitballing here when I'm saying these things. Like, I'm just giving an idea. Would that not be a good idea? So when a trader passes through, these things would be scanned with infrared. Now, someone might say, well, listen, Ninja, that's a bad thing with regards to food or cars or whatever like that. I don't know. Again, I'm open to correction. I'm only giving ideas here. But scan these things with an infrared system, and if there's someone in it, get them out. Either before they enter the country or when they've entered the country, detain them and they get out then as soon as. Like you're hearing the government, they're getting antsy. They're starting to talk about we're going to totally deport people. I believe it when I see it. I believe it when I see like the videos that I've been seeing coming out of Russia, which is they've rounded up hundreds of them, and they've decided right they're all getting frog marched the air towards airplanes and boats and stuff like that, and they're like, yeah, out you go. So that's exactly what should be happening. And how is it that someone's boarding a plane in a foreign country and arriving here with no documents? Surely you'd be able to communicate back with that country and say, here's a picture of this fella. Can you scan it through your system? Because you possess all these things. Don't pretend like you don't. So that's an easy and quick fix in my view. And they're going to run around now for the next 6 months and go, you don't really know how to do it. Stupid stuff. Stradbally, now this is going to infuriate you as I go through the stories, because there's another story about a gentleman there is, and when you see this and you see this type of nonsense and you see what's happening to one of our own, it absolutely infuriates you. It would. I'm going to say infuriate you as well too, you know what I mean? You have to live your life and have a good time and all of that, but you have to be wired to what's happening here with regards to these things. Stradbally, the biggest comment. Listen, before I even crack on into this here, Oliver Cromwell wasn't as bad as these people. And this is what I'm saying to you about these people. These people are worse than Oliver Cromwell. That's a massive statement to make, but it's an accurate statement to make. Oliver Cromwell, if he was alive walking around here today, would probably not believe what's going on. Michael Collins, if he was walking around today and was still alive, would probably not believe what's going on here in this country. You know, I often cast my mind back to the guys and women who fought during 1916, and I said to myself, like, I wonder what they thought and will think of, you know, for example, if they were brought to these times, what would they think? What would they say? Would they bother? Like, or would they fight even harder? Or would they make different decisions? What would they do? What would they say? Because I don't believe for a second that any of these people had any of this in mind with what these people are doing here. This is insane. And the fact that this is going ahead is insane. Stradbally, the biggest accommodation, plantation centre. See, this is the thing as well too, by the way. If you were going to play the game of the media here, the media will call you an anti-this and anti-that. I think people should be starting calling these plantation centres. For Ukrainians, yeah, right. Okay, that thing is starting to wind down. It is over there, by the way. They've completely and utterly lost. Anybody that understands the logistics of what's going on understands that that's a losing position. Not only that, by the way, you can actually live stream still now to this day. You can see live streams in various cities. There's nothing going on over there. Zero. In an awful lot of parts. So to explain it, a lot of people that are in the know with regards to these things would say it's like a skirmish happening in Belfast and you live in Cork, but you're coming from Cork to another country. It doesn't make sense. Well, that's what's going on. So to me, that's winding down. There's also been video that has allegedly been authenticated that is of the fella who was running this KIP talking to the fella who was running the French KIP. Some interesting stuff about the French situation, isn't it? Like, people were talking about Macron and the alleged wife. I don't know whether there's people online that are from France that are like, listen, it's illegal to ask about that question. What do you mean that question? The big mic one? Oh, but I think it's funny as well too. I thought Candace Owens was funny the other day. She was just like, I'm willing to put my entire journalistic integrity upon making that claim about the alleged Mrs. Macron. It's insane. And people are in the comments are like, and the French particularly, I like talk about Big Mike as well there. And I'm like, very interesting times we're living in. But it's also showing you as well too, like the amount of absolute deviants that are running the shows around in various countries, doesn't it? Again, legislatively. But I think when you're looking at what they're bringing in and who they're frolicking with and who they're friendly with, I think says an awful lot. Like, it makes sense then why they don't like Donald Trump, doesn't it? Like, when you really look at it, then you go, oh yeah, that's a clear reason as to why they wouldn't like this guy. There was a video out with Donald Trump the other day. I know I'm talking about these things in bits and pieces, but he was looking at a woman, and the woman was dressed up like in a dress, and she was doing some sort of dance, something like that. And there was people like quoting it, and they're like trying to make it a negative, and everyone's like looking at it going, "We spent the last 4 weeks looking at Sydney Sweeney. The world has shifted yet again. Everyone's going, Sydney Sweeney, hello. She's turned into Jessica Rabbit, essentially. People are just turning their heads and they're like, think woke is over, lads. They're after putting Sydney Sweeney out there. She's showing the baps there, and everyone's happy days. And then they put out that video of Donald Trump, like, look at him looking at your woman. Yeah, okay, I'm happy with that. Because guess what he's not doing? He's not doing what Joe's doing, which is sniffing the follicles of some kid that he doesn't know. Not only that, then he's not been alleged to have done anything to one of his own. You know what I'm saying? Legislatively. Anyway, you've got all of that sort of stuff going on. You've got, for example, Leo Varadkar here running the show here, who's doing all sorts of negative things. A fellow who was under a criminal investigation. And then you've got the likes of Roderick O'Gorman, who was proudly putting up a tweet there with Peter Tatchell. Have a look into him. You know what I'm saying? You're looking at this and you're going, what are we doing? What are we doing here? And why are these people leading the show? And then you realise that, oh, it makes sense then why they don't like Trump. It makes sense then why they don't like other people that are out there that are doing things that they should be doing. You know what I'm saying? And they're trying to make you the negative person when you were doing something that's normal. Anyway, excuse me, just clearing the throat there. For Ukrainians, this new rule come into place on Thursday, at least today. Shrad Valley is the biggest of 5 designated accommodation plantation centres to provide 90 days of accommodation for new arrivals from, now they should be in brackets there, Ukraine. Nobody believes where they're coming from is Ukraine. And here's the statistics of these things. What they are assuming is going to happen is, and this is why you're seeing it in the media, and why you've seen it over the last number of years, you've seen a real push towards making sure, and you see it in the adverts as well too, to make sure that the women, because women, sorry ladies, you just are more susceptible to marketing and propaganda that they're pushing out there. You know, the likes of, for example, the Chris Browns of the world there, who was, and Neos and Ushers and stuff like that of the world that are pushed out and are told to you, like, these are the most handsomest men in the world and who you should be with. Whatever floats your boat is my view. But here's the thing. You're seeing an overwhelming majority of certain individuals be represented in the media here. And what you're starting to see now, which is commonplace across the world now, is the erasure of white guys. So it was recently there, they were saying, the AI, they were like, if Skynet sets up tomorrow, they won't be able to recognize a John Connor. They won't recognize Kyle Reese. Anyway, I thought that was just really funny what people were saying online. And I was like, maybe so, maybe that's the end goal, maybe that's the game, you know. But I thought what was really funny about it was, again, just bringing it back to what's happening here. There's a lot of people that are noticing certain things. They're noticing statistics, like that young lady, for example, and to take a serious note there, that young lady that was a high school girl who was attacked there in America only last week. I think she's been left brutally unconscious, if anyone has seen the video. And then what happened was, within sort of like 45 minutes, I think it was, people had the statistical breakdown of the school, and they were like, it's 95%, you know, of, you know yourself, and something like 2% of the girl and herself in question. And they're like, that's negligence from the parents' behalf, because you're seeing the types of stuff that's been pushed out. I mean, it's overboard in America, the anti-whiteism, but it's getting to be the same here now in Ireland. But the only thing is, I think here there's a bigger pushback now that's happening, because people are like, hang on here for a second, because we're a country that has decided to stand up for itself when we did throughout hundreds and hundreds of years, when we said no to the British oppression. So, I mean, we're not certainly going to take a line down from other people then either, you know what I'm saying? So, when you're seeing America and they have those problems as well, and we're starting to see the same here as well, where people are going, you're going into shopping centres, you're walking down the street, and you're starting to hear multiple languages that aren't yours. And when I'm saying aren't yours, I'd love nothing more for the Irish people, for all of us to be out speaking Irish. And I think that that's possibly going to be the way forward for a lot of people here. A lot of people are going to get super interested into it, and I think a lot of people are going to turn back to it, which I think is a good thing. And of course, you'll have the couple of snarky comments that say, well, how come you don't post everything online in Irish? How come you don't do everything that you do in Irish? The purpose of this is that why would I limit the message of what I'm doing? Because what I've been doing and what others have been doing has been getting across worldwide. Whilst I agree in the sense that it would be great that an awful lot of people here speak Irish, the bare bones of the argument is this, and the facts are this. Not everybody does speak it, and there's absolutely going to be no individual that's going to be out there that's going to get onto a big platform that's going to be putting out a viral video, whether it be an Irish or not, and say, okay, right, this is how we explain it, without having that there. In my view, I think that that's what needs to be happening. You're seeing the viral videos get out there, people telling politicians to go away. You're seeing the viral videos that are going out there. There's a guy there I saw one the other day, Bog Trotter, that did a great video where he was walking through the tent city there, and he was actually threatened then. So if you haven't seen that video, have a look at that. I thought that was something else. Now, as far as I know, I think he's informed the Guardian, made a report, which is a good thing, because surely they're going to be lifting the guy that made the threat then, aren't they? Because he's on video. We'll wait and see when it comes to those things. But anyway, this is what I'm getting back to. I think that would have... I think the fact that we've had British oppression for hundreds and hundreds of years has led us to where we are right now. And I think that there is going to be a shift back towards that. You're seeing a lot of people that are taking that route at this moment in time. I'm seeing people and talking to people, by the way, that would have had no interest in Irish. I don't mean less than zero. I think there was people that were wholly negative that I knew growing up about the Irish language, and now they're fully immersed in it. They're getting interested in it, and I'm like, fair dues to them. Hats off to them as well too. I think that that's a good thing. But they've read the tea leaves as well too with things, and they're going, not taking a chance here, So I think that's a fair thing. And I think when you're saying things like this here, like this plantation centre, allegedly, especially again, that's what's been called online. A lot of people are saying that. They're saying that these things should be called plantation centres, not accommodation centres. That's absolute BS. It's not accommodating the homeless, is it? Where's the houses for the 14,000 people that are here in our streets? What about the men, women and children that are here that are around people that are on streets? What about people that have been that are no longer with us now, that have been sleeping in doorways because they can't go out? And here's the thing, by the way, a lot of people forget this. This was something that was said recently by people that go out, like the likes of Liberty Superrun and various other people that are actually working with the homeless. And I mean actually working with the homeless, like Liberty Superrun and various others. They're talking about how people feel unsafe in the likes of homeless accommodations. That's absolutely true. That's absolutely true. If anybody doesn't know what it's like to be down there, or doesn't know anybody that worked there or anything like that, or hasn't done a bit of work or anything like that in there, you will understand. If you do, you must speak to people that are down there, because the problems that are in those places are rife. They are huge. And if you are an ordinary person that is down on your luck and you've had a bad time and you've had unfortunate circumstances, the street does look more of a better opportunity than going into these places. And I'm not joking when I say that, because there's an awful lot of stuff that goes on in those places. And it's very sad. It's very sad that people can't go to those places. But here's what's happening here. They're going, oh no, we can fork over money here to get people in from different places into these places here in our country. It's absurd. We'll get on to this Egypt now as well. So an awful lot of people are looking at this absolute clown, and that's Leo Varadkar, if you don't know who I'm talking about there. This is a guy, by the way, who was under criminal investigation, has been voting for your likes of your freedoms, civil liberties, and for restrictions upon you over the last couple of years over the sniffles, is voting for the likes of hate speech legislation. And these are things that are wholly negative. And not only that, so of his party. His party are also doing these things. So just to remind you, it's Fine Gael, Fianna Fáil doing it. Sinn Féin are voting for these things as well too. They're not helping you out. Social Democrats are involved. People Before Profit, Labour, they're all involved in there. But I would say the Independents and A&2, they've been doing a good job. And I say a good job. They haven't been doing a great job, but they've been doing a good job. A serviceable job is what I would say, because these people should be pushed back. There should be legislation fired in at these people every single time they talk. Especially this guy. Boom. Every single time they should be firing things in. So anyway, here's what's happening here. You've got this fella making a comment, and I'm like, this could be the straw that breaks the camel's back in terms of he's totally misreading the room. And I think there has been an awful lot of people that have turned back to Christianity, and certainly people that are turning to Christianity. Christianity is forever under attack. And the thing is, it has outlasted all of these ridiculous things over the centuries, and it is going to outlast them still. You see these people attack it, and isn't it interesting as well too when you look at it? And I suppose people would say, maybe you're preaching a little bit here, Ninja. Isn't it interesting that they have spent a very long time trying to take Christianity down and have failed? You have the likes of the Roman Empire, for example, there, that did what they did to Christians and then end up converting them themselves. That's a pretty interesting thing, isn't it? Like when you look at that historically. And then you move on, then you see all of these people that are trying to rid Christianity there. And what's happening really now? Christianity's coming back stronger. It's coming back stronger than ever. And I'm not talking about people saying, well, we're going to Mass or anything like that. I'm talking about people's belief in God and in Jesus and in the Holy Spirit and indeed in a higher power. And people praying to him and praying. I think that's a super important thing. I think, as I said before as well, too, I have an awful lot of problems myself. I have an awful lot of issues with regards to how things are with the likes of the church and stuff like that. I think a lot of people do. But when it comes to me belief in God, it's absolutely unequivocally there. And I think that the church needs to clean up as well, too, for sure, for absolute sure. But here's what happens as well, too, because these people are very aware, and they're very aware of the resurgence in Christianity. And what they decide to do is they try to use your faith against you. Tolerance isn't something that's taught as a virtue here in Christianity whatsoever. And this is what they try to gaslight you with, and they try to change things up. Like, everybody knows that Jesus went through the temple and he was using the whip to get people out. People forget that. People forget about the fact that Jesus was brought to this earth as a sword. You know what I'm saying? These are all things that are in the Bible. And I think a lot of people are looking at the Bible now and they're actually saying to themselves, isn't it weird how an awful lot of things that happened then are starting to happen now again? And they're saying to people, yikes, it looks like this thing is coming full circle yet again here. And I think that's very, very interesting. I think the fact that a lot of people are standing by their beliefs and their faith, I think, is very, very important. And you were seeing, and you have seen an all-out attack upon Christianity for the last couple of years. And someone might say, well, that is preachy, but that leads me to the point here that I'm making here. When these people do things like St. Patrick's Day and they make it a big deal, and they have done for a very long time, I don't know about you, but I was always someone that was a bit, suspicious of it. Because I said, is there a long game here? I was never someone that really enjoyed going to St. Patrick's Day parades or anything like that. It was never my thing. I think once I got old enough to be able to be like, no, I'm not interested in that. At a very young age, we didn't go because it wasn't my interest. Because I was like, well, it's great that we have a patron saint, and it's great that, this guy drove the snakes away from mine. And I think that's it's a good story and good metaphor and stuff like that. And I mean, I wish that would happen again. But anyway, this is what happens with these people here in power, with the likes of this guy here, Leo Varadkar. And whatever about his personal life as well too, because that's a factor that I would certainly use against him, because I don't think that that's something that he should be casting any sort of opinion on. I don't think also as well too, he should be someone that's casting an opinion on what the people of Ireland should be doing and what they should be welcoming. Not at all. And when you decide to use this against us, it just tells me something. It tells me that you're losing the argument, and I think you're in big trouble. Because here's the way I look at these things. When you turn around and say St. Patrick was a migrant to Ireland, a single male, undocumented one, I just say to myself, well, the only person that really matters here is Jesus Christ. And that's it. Like, that's who matters to me. And whatever you want to say, and whoever you want to use throughout history, you do what you do, you. And there's some people that would try and use Jesus as well too, to try and say, oh yeah, but he was born here and he was born there. And you're going, hang on here for a second. Just so you're just with me here. You were trying to use the faith against me, and you were the very person then that will absolutely say how appalled you are by the faith, and absolutely admit how much you hate it. So I'm not going to be lectured by these people whatsoever. I'm not going to take anything that these people say seriously, and nor should you. And that's the bare bones of what I'm saying. I think you don't need to be taking what these people are saying seriously. You need to be mocking them, laughing at them, and say, well, I'll tell you what, Leo, here's my view to you, and here's my response here to you when it comes to this. You will be judged accordingly, you will, when you're in front of God. And I think you will be absolutely held accountable when it comes to that there. Whether it be in this life or the next life, you will be held accountable. So that's all that really matters to me. It doesn't bother me whatsoever, like what this Egypt says. And I don't think it should bother anybody else what this fella says, particularly when it comes to a faith that I highly doubt that he shares, and that I highly doubt that he actually respects. So it's going to be interesting as well too when he's trying to spin the wheel on the likes of the other groups that are coming here to Ireland. That's going to be super interesting, I have to say. So this is where he decided to do it. He decided to use it at a speech at an Irish Diaspora event in Boston to tackle the issue of migration. So these people that are telling you that they're going to fix the weather by you paying more taxes, which is essentially what the return scheme is, by the way. They're telling you they fix the weather. Can't fix potholes or anything like that, but they're totally going to fix the weather there. These people are telling you that they're going across the world. You've got Eamon Ryan that's sitting over there in Brazil with your man Lula. And if you haven't any idea who Lula is, have a look into him. He was arrested, was he not, for corruption? Was he not in serious trouble there not too long ago? And then they got Bolsonaro out there. They did it under very sketchy circumstances there. Very suspicious circumstances, I would say. So this is what this fella's going down. Could you imagine being, American Irish and sitting there and looking at this guy coming over and going, I can only imagine now. I have to say, I think Irish Americans are hilarious because they have a different way of thinking they do than us. Some of it's a lot more common sense and in a lot of ways, and others then as well too. I think it's just interesting because there's people that right now that are American Irish and they look at this and they go, "This guy's not Irish." They just look at him and they're like, "What are you talking about here? What's this guy? Who's this head? Who's this fella coming over? Like, what's he talking about?" Salty Cracker had a great video on this fella not too long ago. I'm gonna say on him, he talking about what was happening here in Ireland. He was particularly with regards to the riots, and he was looking at the name, and he was like, he was like, "What is that name?" And I thought that was super interesting. I was like, he hasn't even seen the dude. I was like, can you only imagine what he would say when he sees him? Because you don't look at this fella and say to yourself, he's totally Irish. Sure you don't. The same way you wouldn't look at the likes of Stephen Donnelly and say he's Japanese. Sure you wouldn't. And that's the point that I like to make all of the time. If I go and live in Japan, I was going to say Japan. If I go and anyway, it's been a long week. If I go and live in Japan and I say I'm as Japanese as the people that are living in Japan, I'd be laughed out of the room, and rightfully so. If I decided to go, and again, if anybody that was deciding to go to like Nigeria, I wouldn't recommend going over there and telling that you're as Nigerian as there because you just landed there. I doubt you would be getting out of there with any sort of dignity, is what I would say. So I think it's laughable that we have to endure this nonsense when someone comes across and goes, "Yeah, my name is Billy from Lagos and I'm as Irish as you are." I don't think so. My name is Ibrahim and I'm from Pakistan, but I'm just as Irish as you are. No, you're not. Absolutely, you're not. I think it's an interesting fact, and it's something I was even watching the TV show. If you haven't seen it lately, it's called Shogun. I think it's really interesting. And whilst they have their own feuds and stuff like that within their own country, and I was like, that's what happens throughout history, isn't it? But the way they treat, for example, the English fella that arrives on the scene, I'm like, that's pretty interesting the way they're doing things there, isn't it? And the fact that they're showing this is super interesting also. There's a couple of things that I don't like about the show, and when I'm saying that, I think they do things that are wholly unnecessary, but some of them are accurate. But the fact when the Protestant fella grabs a cross and throws it on the ground and is standing all over, I'm like, I don't like that. I don't like that whatsoever. But anyway, moving on. Could you imagine the American Irish sitting there looking at this fella going, who is this guy? What's he talking about here? So anyway, just as I said earlier on, if you just remember the story I just showed you just before there, Strabeli, the biggest accommodation centre for Ukrainians. This is what's happening here also then to one of our own. So whilst they're doing that there, that's state-funded people being brought into this country and being housed here. Here's what's going on here. A Tipperary man at the centre of a standoff with authorities over his modified log cabin has said he is willing to lay down in front of a digger to prevent his home being demolished. Tipperary pensioner will lay down in front of a digger as deadline to demolish log cabin arrives. So just like I said to you, if this doesn't infuriate you, I don't know what will. Because look at that. Strabeli, the biggest accommodation centre for Ukrainians, as new rule comes into place on Thursday. And now here's the thing when it comes to rules as well too. A lot of these rules that are made up are just made up by people. Like, in my view, you have the likes of the Ten Commandments, and then I think you have sensible measures that should be taken. Everybody, when they go to sleep, when they finish up to do and they gaff during the day, they lock the doors at night, don't they? Isn't that the sensible thing to do? They'll be left to see just they'll go, I leave my doors open, I actually have curtains on the front door and people can come and go as they like. Absolute fruitcakes, guilt balls to the highest order. But this is where we're at here. We're at a position where you have people rolling into the joint and they're being put up here in these places and are going to be put up in further places then when they build them. Because don't forget what else they're doing. In the meantime, they're asking builders to come home. Now, why do you think that they're asking builders to come home here to this country, who have left the country they have to go and work in different countries? And that is completely different. There'll be some leftist fool that'll go, but you're talking about immigration there. Hang on here for a second. These fellas that are going over as electricians and carpenters and plumbers and that are moving over to these countries and they're actually doing a job. They're doing something over there. And the plan is always to return home and buy a home here in Ireland. Because there's a lot of people that are working jobs that are getting 50 grand a year that would have been a lot of money an awful long time ago, but it's nothing now anymore. And as a result, then they're being bought out of places, they're being outbid. What hope does anybody have that's on 50,000 a year? Now, like I said, there's a lot of people that are working in jobs, and this is something I said to Gavin Pepper even there 2 weeks ago. I feel for people that work in jobs, for example, like the Tesco and stuff like that, where you might have two people that love each other. You have a bloke and a girl, and they love each other, they do. And they're going steady they are for a couple of years, and they're looking to buy somewhere, and they absolutely can't. I know I have friends that are in that position, and my heart goes out to them because it's absolutely scandalous. But when you were looking at, for example, then up the road or 4 hours up or anything like that, or behind you or in front of you or whatever it might be, and you were seeing Kelechi and the lads coming out of it, and you're going, this is an absolute piss take. And yet John and Joni are down the road, and you're going like that. They're still living with their mass. It's absurd. And that's what's also leading to the population decline here in Ireland as well too. You've got people living at home for far too long, then so that means that they're leaving having kids off till a longer time. So they're not starting young. They're actually starting quite old. And other people that are out there then that are actually being given everything hand over fist, they're starting young and having the plenty. 5, 10, 15. I mean, I'm seeing and hearing about it all the time. So this is where we're at here in this country. This is a perfect example as to where we're at here. We've got a government here that are completely rogue, that they've gone off script here. They're not doing what the electorate want. They certainly are not keeping any sort of electoral promises. They are not doing what they are told. They are being questioned hand over fist. There's videos coming out. I think I'm butchering the name here. Well, Balladareen, is that the Balladareen? Is it maybe? Recently there, and there's people in the community, and this community, by the way, is something that Mick O'Keefe was pointing out there on Twitter. Like, he was like, I told these people, and other people went down and told these people at the time that this is a bad idea to welcome these people in. They were shouted down, they were called racist, they were called idiots and kicked out of these places, and ended up now they're at a meeting there, what was it, last week, and they're like, holy shit guys, this is after hitting the fan. We all told you that, but it's nice to have you on the team finally, you know. And it's like, for example, the stuff that Philip does when he goes around. Big shout out to Philip the Word, by the way, because he does a great job when he goes around. Same thing as well, too, to Stephen Kerr of the Irish Inquiry. Does another phenomenal job as well. They go around the places they do, and they tell you and show you what's going on. Fergus doing it as well, too. You've got Mick O'Keefe is doing it as well. And all of the other lads there, Gavin Pepper's doing another wonderful job as well, too, showing people around. And the reason why we keep shouting names out as well, too, is to let you know that these guys are doing this work. They're going around and showing people what's going on. You're not seeing it on the news. You're seeing it on social media. You're seeing people send these things to you, and these things are getting out there, which is a good thing. But this is absurd when you see this here. One of our own that's been told, now you have to get out of here, but this is what they're doing here up above. It's absolutely scandalous. If that doesn't show you what's going on here, and in particular, where this government's allegiance lies, I don't think anything else will. This is a perfect representation of what this current government, and every single party that's sitting in that thought are. I mean, that's absolutely abhorrent. The fact it's gotten this far without someone stepping in and going, here, hang on here for a second. How was it, by the way, as well, too, a fella was detained over in Iran, an Iranian he was. A very sketchy story, if you're asking me. He went out, he wasn't supposed to be in Iran, had been critical of Iran and the Iranian government, and then arrived in Iran because his mother was sick. I don't know about you. I was like, that's weird. That's very strange. And if you know that their censorship levels are the way they are, what are you doing going there? That doesn't seem to be a sensible thing to do. Not that I agree with censorship, but what I'm saying is that seems like an odd thing to do. People say, well, he had to go, she was sick or anything like that. Well, you know, if you're going to go over there, you're rolling the dice, you know. And then what ended up happening then, he was detained and he went missing, didn't know where he went. And there was a big hullabaloo in the media, and there was all sorts of ministers out there speaking and saying, oh, we'll look after it and we'll sort this out. Same with the Ibrahim Halawa fella. Loads of noise made about that. Fuck all noise been made about this fella though and Enoch Burke though, isn't there? It's absolutely appalling. Oh, by the way, I couldn't share it here tonight, but I might as well talk about the story I'd seen it anyway. So Yusuf Palani, who's in jail, he was in Mountjoy. He's been this is the guy, by the way, that did the Sligo attack on the two gay men, and I think there was a third one, involved in that as well, too. That was very badly injured. But the other two guys didn't make it. Zero talk about them, by the way. The community, the Rainbow community, they don't talk about them at all. The NGOs don't talk about them at all. It's scuppered their plans and stuff like that. But he was attacked in Mountjoy during the week there. Apparently he was crying for help and stuff like that. But I made an observation. And all I do was make observations and give me opinions on this. But he did what he did, right? And there he is now being attacked in Mountjoy. And I said to myself, isn't it interesting that criminals, people that we would perceive as criminals, obviously, have an ethical, I suppose, way of looking at things and a moral code and their own sort of ideas, that they did something that a lot of people would have looked at and went, fair enough. Do you know what I'm saying? Again, I'm not endorsing it. I'm not supporting it, and I'm disavowing anybody that would get involved in that sort of stuff. But I'm just saying, as an observation, excuse me, I'm just saying as an observation that you've got people that are in prison that are doing things, and you're like, a lot of the people, like the articles that were out there that were writing it, they were like, you're supposed to feel sorry for Yusuf. That backfired. So all the comments that I saw were all wholly negative towards him, and a lot of people were actually supporting it, cheering it. You know what I'm saying? So you're looking at it and you're like, I think the media understand what's going on as well too. I think they're in a big trouble. Who was it there? They had some fella there retiring. They had him retiring during the week there, and they were all banging desks as if it was the House of Lords or something like that. And I was just like, what gives me comfort is to see a room full of people and see that they are being effectively beaten by memes. That's what we're up against, guys. That's what we're up against. I think it's very, very, very funny. Let me just skip back on here now, make sure that the StreamYard stuff is still going. I'm not just talking to myself for the last half an hour or whatever like that. We're all good. We're still going, I think. So there you go. That's the media anyway. By the way, I must have been off the social media or something like that on Monday. I never caught at all that Charlie Board is no longer with us. And look, I think my view of this situation is this. I don't think he was as, from what I'd seen anyway, just on Twitter and that, he'd made comments like standing up to anti-Voldemort people and stuff like that. And I did harbour, and I still do harbour a lot of ill will towards people that did feel that way, because I'm like, well, it is the way it is. But I don't think he made further comment about it really at all. But what I will say is this, and it's different to the Michael O'Regan situation, because he was someone that was out there that was vehemently posting stuff that was outrageous. But the Charlie Board situation, to me, I think is a very, very strange one. And I think it's another sort of breaker of your thoughts with the media, insofar as I think it's interesting timing when he posted that sort of stuff out, that he was criticising the rollout, and he was criticising the government, and he was criticising the fact that he wasn't able to get one of the Voldemorts yet, and then ended up then having a neurological problem. Now, these things are being linked to neurological problems. They are being linked to heart problems. They are being linked to blood problems and various other ones that I'm sure are going to be acknowledged. Cancer is another one as well too. You had the actress Olivia Munn there, who has just had a double mastectomy, and she is someone that was promoting the stuff not too long ago. You had a guy there that appeared with Ricky Gervais on The Office, and he's no longer with us. I think 48 years old there. A former Manchester United player there as well too, 40 years of age, no longer with us either. Just of last week. So you're seeing high profile people, and people that are Sven-Goran Eriksson. I don't know what the story is with him or anything, what way he was doing things. There's rumours out there about, and again, I'm only saying there's rumours that are out there. I'm not saying he has it or anything like that, but there's rumours out about Jurgen Klopp. Now, if those rumours end up being true, I think that's highly interesting. But again, they're only rumours, they're only speculation now at the moment. But what you're seeing is aggressive forms of cancer, and particularly pancreatic cancer. That seems to be the big one now at the moment. A lot of people are pointing towards it, along with the suddenlies as well too. There's a lot of good Twitter accounts that are reporting about the suddenlies. And I'm just saying that these are things that these people should be facing repercussions for 100% for what they did. And the fact that they, in my opinion, lied to people. And what you're going to see now, as I said beforehand, is you've got the likes of Rishi Sunak that's over there that's shifting the blame onto the medical personnel, and that's the career of a politician, that's the life of a politician, telling people what they want to hear, and also as well making sure that they shift the blame. The L boy had a great analogy there, actually. I was talking to him recently, and he says politicians are like rugby players, and probably, there might be something in that. I don't like rugby. Everyone knows that. But he's like, they're like rugby players. He says they're always trying to pass the ball, and they're always trying to pass the buck to someone else that's behind them. But off you go. And I was like, that's a great analogy there. I actually think that's spot on, because that's what these people are. It wasn't me that said that. Stephen Donnelly, did you go to the meetings there with Professor Carl Hennigan that told you the likes of the face nappies were a bad idea and told you they were nonsense? No, you didn't. You weren't at them. Some people in legal circles are saying that could be possibly allegedly speculatively plausible deniability. I don't know. But that certainly sounds strange to me when people are showing up to those things and saying this is a bad idea, this can cause long-term repercussions. But here's the thing, and this is going to show you how ridiculous things are. I remember in 2007, right, and this will show you just how stupid things got. I remember in 2007, and you might say, Ninja, this is wild, and it's got nothing to do with what's going on. But it does, because the entertainment industry, don't forget, is intrinsically linked to what's going on in the real world. I remember, and you're going to say this is childish, Ninja, but it's not. It's fact. I remember when the director, Michael Bay, and various other people in the production of Transformers came out and said Optimus Prime cannot wear a face mask in the movie throughout the entire thing. And the reason they gave, waiting to hear it, a robot, by the way, a CGI robot, they said the robot wouldn't be able to emote or show emotions without seeing his face. Fast forward then to the last couple of years, they were like, yeah, no, everyone can wear when they can and for an indescribable amount of time. It's absurd. Anyway, so I move on. You've got the Irish Times that put out this article. I would be crying at work. Task Force hears powerful testimony about abuse politicians face. Are we supposed to care about that? Are we supposed to care about that? See, this is the thing. And I keep saying to people, these people lost all sympathy from me when they decided to take away my civil rights, freedoms, and liberties over the last couple of years. And I'm sure they lost all sympathy from you. I don't care what's been said to a politician. And here's the other thing. These people don't care when you were attacked. They don't care that you were on a housing list for X amount of years. They don't care that you're not able to afford a house. They don't care that you're not able to see the doctor. They don't care about scoliosis. They don't care about cancer. They don't care about the water situation. The water situation has been deemed, the water here in Ireland has been deemed unsafe. And they're like, we'll probably get around to fixing it in 2026. 2 years. Fergus Power put up a tweet the other day, and it was of a water filtration system that he has. And he showed what a brand new one's supposed to look like. Now, I've seen images like this before, but I didn't think that was actually happening here in Ireland. And he had one that's brand new, and it's white, right? And now people will be like, now, Ninja, there's a joke in here. Not from me. I'm saying people might assume that this is a joke. But the white one is what it's like brand new, right? And he pulled out one that had been in there a year, and it was brown. It was muddy. And just think about that for a second. That's water that's coming through your tap that you're going to be drinking. And that stuff is going into your body. So, like, that's how the government don't give a shit about you. They do not care. Because they're not telling you, and when that report came out, by the way, they're not saying, right, lads, that's it now, it's done and dusted, 24 hours, we're going to sort this all out. No care at all. Zero. The borders were still open, they were during the scam. And now you have this going on. The EU is telling you, yeah, it's not good. You have aspartame, by the way. And this is going full on tinfoil hat here. There's aspartame in literally everything. It's in yogurts. And it's in most, I have to be honest with you guys, right? I was shocked to find this out. It was. And it's in a lot of soft drinks, there is as well, too. It's in most soft drinks now. But it's also in dilute. So if you're buying dilute thinking that that's, or cordial or whatever way you might call it, like a Ribena, and now it's not in Ribena, it's in Ribena Light, it is. But it's not in Ribena, not yet anyway. Someone at Ribena will probably hear this and be like, fuck, we better get it into that now as well. But, allegedly speaking. So anyway, you have most of the dilutes that are out there that actually feature aspartame in it. Japan has literally done a study of it there only a couple of months ago and is like, that's a possible carcinogen. There's people that were on Twitter there that were like, that they have family members. Now, again, you're taking the word of someone that you don't know on Twitter as well, too. And I'm only reporting what I've been told here. And there's people that said that they have friends and family members of theirs that worked in labs and they're like, that thing is not just a possible carcinogen. It absolutely is. And then you've got other people that are like, well, you take an awful lot of amount of it to consume to be a carcinogen. Oh, okay, right. So is that how you look at it? Is it? Yeah. Okay. Just put it. Now, again, I'm not saying you should. I'm disavowing or anything like that. I was going. That's like saying you're gonna put a little, just a teaspoon, just a little sprinkle of rat poison into your gargle. You know what I'm saying? Like, why would you do that? You know what I mean? If it has a detrimental effect, it doesn't matter. It's only a little bit. But it's still more than you should be taking at all. You shouldn't do that. That's a no. So that's where I stand when it comes to those things. So anyway, sometimes I like to come across and talk to you about things that are actually happening as well too, and you have to keep an eye on these things. The keto diet and the carnivore diet has exploded as well too on YouTube and various. It's gotten here's the thing, it's gotten out of hand for the regime and whatever regime and apparatuses across the world. There's too many people out there talking about. There's a great guy that does a breakdown of McDonald's food. McDonald's food is, now it's junk, and I certainly do. But it breaks it down about what it's cooked in and stuff like that. There's people that are going back to cooking with real butter, beef tallow. They're eating eggs as well too. They're like they did a study on kids. They did, and they said that there was a study done on children that their IQ levels, if they had an egg a day, that their IQ levels were above the ones that didn't have an egg a day. And these are all people that are nutritionists and people that are very respected within the field. And that's something that's making a comeback. Now, could they be wrong? It's possible. But there's a lot of people out there. There's so many stories that I've seen of people saying, well, I went full carnivore here, went back to the doctor, and the doctor were like blood levels, cholesterol there, sorry, levels were the best they'd ever been. And they were like, they're looking at numbers here from a year ago, and they're like, these numbers aren't even close. Like the year later on the carnivore diet, you're much better. Anyway, there's some people out there that disagree and they say, no, you need a bit of this, need a bit of that. Sure, I hear what you're saying as well too when it comes to vegetables and stuff like that, but these things have been sprayed and all that with various different pesticides and stuff, and you're looking at who's buying up farmland and who's doing what. I don't know about you, but I always feel that when you grow something yourself, it tastes way better than anything that you buy in the shops. So that's my view on things anyway. I'll leave it there. I would often be crying at work, so I got back to this here. Task Force here is a powerful testimony about abuse politicians face. Women participating in politics experience more based and image-based abuse than men. Daft report finds out that says draft, but it is a daft report in my view. It's no shock to see this sort of stuff here. Look, I talk about it at length here on this channel, I do, and look, I look at the red pill content, if you want to call it that. I look at what Andrew Tate says. I look at what the Fresh and Fit podcast say. I look at an awful lot of the new guys. There's another good guy as well too. There's an Asian guy that's there. It's like Thoughts in the Wilderness, Life of Abundance, I think he's called. I think he's Life of Abundance or something like that. It's called. He's funny as well too. You know what I mean? He tells a few jokes and he he tells him with his accent. You know what I mean? I think he's very funny. But anyway, these guys are coming and exploding the air with the likes of content that's coming out there, and it's getting a lot of people on board and they're looking at it and they're saying, yeah, it makes sense. Like, this makes absolute sense to me here, this article, because women are emotional, they are, and this is what you're dealing with. Like, most women will tell you that they're emotional people anyway, but this is absolutely, I would say, a high profile politician, I would imagine, that goes on like this. Like, now they might say, no, it's not, this is a low level politician, but lots of these politicians that are out there are really thin skinned, not just the women, but the men as well too. But the women in particular, when it comes to these things, are just absolutely batty, especially the leftist ones. Now, women on our side of the fence, absolutely no problem at all. And a lot of them big patriots that are standing up, and I think it's a great thing. But like, you're looking at these type of things as well too, on the emotional side of things. Like, that's not what's needed as well too. You need to have someone that's going to be able to hold it together. And of course, you're going to get stick. But that's the thing. That's different walks of life as well too. Like, men get stick all their life to do, and they are going to, and that's why men develop a thicker skin. That's why when you're out with the lads and all that, like, fellas, like, people will. I've had regular conversations with friends of mine, and people that be in the earshot be like, "You guys friends at all?" I'm like, what do you mean? I've just insulted each other there for 45 minutes. Yeah, that's because we're mates. But that's what fellas do. Like, that's how you do it. Whereas, like, women and stuff like that, they're like, oh, you look great today and like that, and you're like, you know that one is talking mad smack about you behind your back to other people. But anyway, going back on this here, it just highlights, and this is the thing, it highlights yet again, feel sorry for us, we're being threatened, we're being abused, we're being told this online. They're only words, sticks and stones, and at the end of the day, if someone's putting up a picture and you're putting it out there, and this is the thing, when you're a public representative, you're open to these things. If you're someone out there that's telling people how to be healthy and you're, I don't know, about, 15 stone overweight, like, people are going to call that out and go, that's BS, man. When you have the likes of Mary Harney there, that was Minister for Health, you're like, here, hang on here for a second. What are you talking about here? Do you know what I mean? You have to tell you the likes of Joe Rogans of the world and all that are totally bonkers and bananas. But this is what I'm saying to you. You have people that are susceptible. Like, in what way, shape, or form do you think that article is a good idea? Like, all I see when I look at an article like that is I just see weakness. I just see cowards and weakness. That's all I see. And I'm talking about the people that are in politics, because, like, if you can't handle people saying stuff to you, whether it be online or whether it be to your face or anything like that, like, my first thoughts are this: what are you doing when you go across to a really high power meeting with individuals that are going to threaten you? Now, I know you don't mean threaten you as in, like, we're going to protest outside your location there. We're going to protest outside your office. I'm talking about people that are over there that are telling you like really, really serious threats. Like I saw a video there last week, and it was of Putin meeting Trudeau. And literally, what happened in the video was this guy comes over, and he's obviously part of the, we would say, Russian delegation, we shall say. And Putin's right hand, I know, is it his right hand or his left hand? It's his left hand, it is. Putin is literally standing, and Trudeau is in front of me, and they're standing quite close. And the guy comes over, he does behind Trudeau, and Putin puts his left hand out and sort of waves it from side to side. And your man backs off then, and Trudeau cops what's going on and looks around, and people are online like, holy moly. But that's just a little slice into what's going on, is all I'm saying, is that you're going across the meetings like these with these guys, and these dudes are doing and saying serious things, and they're doing it all behind closed doors as well too. So like, I can only imagine where they're going are right behind closed doors. If they're this windy in public like this, well, you're going to be definitely seeing far more of it there behind closed doors, in my view. I mean, I don't know if I have to say much about this one here. This is a career ender, is it not? Like, political, I think this guy has done an awful lot of things that I feel are political career enders, and still he maintains a position. What he did during the referendum and what's come out since then, particularly from the Attorney General and the conflicting stuff, now that's all, in my humble opinion, again, allegedly, respectfully, that's all timed. That stuff comes out. Like, I mean, what was the chances of that there the night before that they come out with and like, this actually was said. A lot of people have made their minds up. And then at that stage, you've got, is it a Fine Gael representative, a Fine Gael person that's out now is like, I totally voted no, and then they're like, but you're on the yes campaign. the duplicitous nature and the deceptiveness of these people, the deceitful way that these people carry themselves is something else. I have to say, it really is something else. So anyway, excuse me. You've got this guy who says this. You've got Doubtfire issues should be part of primary curriculum. I don't know what to say. This is peak clown world here, guys. This is if you had said that someone was going to make this, if you said that the Hardy books were going to make this up as a joke 10 years ago, people would have laughed and said, no way. But look at this. This is Ireland 2024. Says Minister for Children, Roderick O'Gorman, a gay man who has no children himself. And listen, that's not going to be just the be-all and end-all there, because you've got the two goofballs as well too there that they keep promoting. What's your man's name? Is it Brian Dowling and Arthur Gudori, or whatever like that? They're talking about having another child. I thought the purchasing of humans was illegal. Is that just me? Is that just me? I think it's very strange. Anyway, moving on to this one here. And people will say, that's not fair, Ninja. No, children need a mother and a father. That's my opinion, and that's not going to change, and I'm going to stand firmly over that one there. So, you've got this guy that makes this sort of comment here. According to Children's Minister Roderick, this from the Liberal, by the way, according to Children's Minister Roderick O'Gorman, elementary school students ought to be taught about what it means to identify as a doubtfire. Why? Now, like I said before, and I'll say it again, and I'm just going to repeat it again. What these people are looking to do is they're looking to infect young, impressionable minds. And very like what happens with Agent Smith in The Matrix, is that's how they are going to keep what they are doing going. Because they are absolutely afraid. And this is the thing, this is what I believe that these people do believe themselves. They believe what they are doing is going to just multiply. Like I saw it last week or the week before, I think Jimmy Kimmel made a comment about the recent Transformers movie, and I knew from the tweets that he read out, I was like, I don't like Jimmy Kimmel whatsoever, but I knew from the tweets that he read out, I was like, I know what subgroup of the fandom were writing those things. The same ones that attack J.K. Rowling. Same people. The same people that have 500 Twitter followers, they do, and what they do is they open up a group with these people, fire in your tweet, and then they try to dogpile you, but when you laugh at them and tell them that they're disgusting to you, they absolutely lose their reasons. They can't understand that. It's very funny. But anyway, going back to this guy here, because this is the serious matter when it comes to these things. This is absolutely outrageous. And like I said before, and I'll say it again, I understand and I wholeheartedly get when people are saying that this guy should be made resign or he should resign. I'm going to explain to you how it is. Helen McAtee is not going to resign. Roderick O'Gorman is not going to resign. None of them are going to resign unless there is an unequivocal proof of them doing something extremely naughty. And when I say extremely naughty, I mean something that's absolutely criminal and something that would be looked upon from the large majority of people and people that are incarcerated as something that should be done, something that should be done about. That's where we're at. Just as we know, like you have a fella now that's openly saying these things, and people are still going, "Oh, right there." Like I don't know at what point in time people will just call for this guy's arrest because this is absolutely outrageous here. This is open admittance to something that is completely and utterly warped, in my view. And look, you can identify as whatever you want. I don't give a fiddler's, but when you want me to participate, as I'm going to paraphrase here from Dave Chappelle, when you want me to participate in your false perception of reality, that's when we have a problem. Whatever you want to be, if you think you're a cat and you think you identify as a tribilingual penguin, I don't give a fiddler's. But when you then tell me that I need to tell you that you are a tribilingual penguin, I am going to stop you right there and say this is absolute nonsense. I am not doing that. I'm not agreeing with that whatsoever. And this is where we are at now. And when you look at, for example, the NHS now has banned the blockers, for example, which I think is a very welcome thing to have happened. The fact that it was happening at all is really symptomatic of, or it was really a good representation of how far society has fallen. And in future, I'm sure they'll look back and say, Jesus, like things went absolutely wild back in those times. How did they get that far? There's multiple reasons as to why: entertainment, suppression of speech, people in fear as well too for speaking out against what these people were doing because they held the controls like the Wizard of Oz for a very long time. But now the curtain's been peeled back and people are looking at this guy, they're looking at Varadkar, they're looking at Sapone, they're looking at the other people that are out there that are up to negative things. They're looking across there, they're looking at Macron, they're looking at, for example, Biden as well too. And they're looking at the various ones that are in the likes of the UK government and everywhere else across the world. There's in the Ardens of the world as well too. And they're going, no, we're not going to have this anymore. But what should be happening is now, in my view, with this sort of stuff, this fella should be arrested. This fella should be in prison. Enoch Burke shouldn't be in prison. This guy should be, 100%. And this is the bare bones. I mean, has Enoch Burke not won his case here now? Has he not won it here with this statement alone? Because this is what it's all about. It's all about these people trying to push their ideologies and their sense of absolutely nonsensical ideas into people. And there's an awful lot of people out there that are just basically blank slates that just need a cartridge put into the back of their head, and that's what they're planning on. And there's a lot of people out there that are adults that are the same. There's adults that are out there, they don't get what's going on. You know, you try and have a conversation with someone and say to them, like, you know, they're talking about we are actually very neurodivergent. This is the new thing that they're doing. We're all neurodivergent. Listen, if we were all on a plane together and we crash landed on an island, guess what's going to happen? Everyone's going to revert to their standard protocol. Okay, the men are going to be the hunter gatherers, and the women are going to be looking after the kids, and they're going to be cooking the meals. That's exactly what's going to happen. Okay, you're going to take it right back to the Stone Age. And there's people that will disagree with you and say, I don't want to have that conversation. That is reality. And you can't get away from it. It's reality. But this is absolutely shameful that we as a country are allowing this happen. And the fact that there's people in uniform that are sitting there that are looking at this happen and looking at this being said and are doing nothing about it, I think says everything as well too. Where are you? Why? Why is nobody thoroughly investigating this? It's absolutely astounding. I don't get why they're not doing this. Like, why are we not doing it? Like, why? I've said it multiple times. It's absolutely unbelievable that this guy is openly admitting to this. I cannot highlight this enough of what he's saying. It's appalling. Accommodation policies for Ukrainians will create further strain in the rental market. The Irish Red Cross has warned the minister that Ukrainians could be forced into unregulated, unsuitable tenancies. Again, I don't care. Okay? He's trying to make you care about someone that's not of this land, but up above here is telling you the kids are going to learn about their fires there, guys. Okay? And you got to do it. That's absurd. That is absurd. Absolutely unbelievable it is. Now, here's another thing. I don't think we got onto the Twitter stuff here tonight. I think we've spent enough time between the jigs and the reels of what's going on here. So anyway, I'll get into the chat because we want to talk to people as well. Anti-refugee target St. Patrick's Day parade floats to spread their message. Anti-refugee, pro-Irish, you mean? Anti-plantation, maybe? And far-right groups. Define far-right groups. What does that mean? What does far-right mean? Can you explain what far-right means? Can you put that into words? Define it. Are targeting St. Patrick's Day parades in a bid to get publicity for their protest issues. Yous are panicked. I think yous are bothered here now. Between everything that's been said there, with Radgar talking about like the immigration issue is like it's probably a top three. Oh yeah, you best believe it is top three there, buddy, because everyone's wound up about that, and that is linked to every other problem that's happening here in this country, you included. So, as I said here, Floats mocking Enoch Burke were fine though. That was okay. That was all right last year. So, just to again explain it for anyone that's out there that's listening that hasn't heard it before, Enoch Burke was a teacher. He is a teacher, and he is someone that took issue and umbrage with a pupil that was supposed to be referred as pronouns that they weren't given at birth. So, as such, if it was a boy born, they are now referring to themselves as a girl. And if the vice versa happened as well too, if they were born a girl and they're referring to themselves as a boy, well then what you have then is someone that is playing make believe. Listen, I'm gonna do this tomorrow. I'm gonna identify as a millionaire tomorrow. I'm gonna walk down to the local dealership of cars. I'm gonna say to them, "Hey, I identify as a millionaire. Give me your nicest Ferrari there, please." I don't think they'd look after me there when it comes to that. Do you? I don't think they would. That's just common sense, though, isn't it? And we're missing an awful lot of it lately. So he took umbrage with that. Took umbrage as well too with the management. The manager of the school there, the principal, is no longer there now, has moved off somewhere else, and still decided then amongst themselves, according to the board of management as well as the principal there, to try and suspend this guy and have an investigation done into him for opposing this sort of stuff. So he found himself then as well outside the school. He was protesting outside it, which of course is absolutely his right to do. And then they were saying, "Oh no, he's broken a court order." So the people, and just to point this out as well, because I do get one or two comments then after the fact, and people saying, "But he broke a court order." You people did not give a shit when it came to the Nuremberg Code or the Geneva Convention over the last couple of years. So I don't care what you think about laws or anything like that. It made it all moot, is my opinion. Courts and all that, it's a joke shop now at this stage of the game. Because, like I said, if you were not going to be backing up the likes of the Nuremberg Code and the likes of the Geneva Convention over the last couple of years, well, then it's all pie in the sky. It's all nothing. It's all words. It's all stardust, isn't it? You know, to quote Matthew McConaughey there, it's all stardust. Nonsense. Made up crap. So what you have now is you've got a society now that has looked at that, as I have, and it's like, Banana Republic. Absolute clown show going on here. You've got ministers that are up above doing things like this and saying things like that. Like this here. You've got Leo Varadkar, who was under criminal investigation. You've got Micheál Martin turning around talking about how Ireland shouldn't be looking at a backwards way of a sovereign nation. If Eamon Ryan then turning around talking to you about the climate and how important it is, a fella that wants to look over everybody with a taxation until they have no money anymore, and yet then is flying out to China and flying out to Brazil. Spoofer. And then you have them taking umbrage with this here. You see, that's because the message is working. And what's happening is then, whilst the message has picked up a lot of people, it's picked up a lot of people here online, and it is going to pick up even more people as well too. And like I said, there's more channels that are popping up there, and it's great to see that are showing the content of what's going on. But things like this then are going to be one of the final straws then that are going to be like, shit. Because if this happens on St. Patrick's Day, I should say, you're going to get more people, they're going to get hooked on, and they're going to go, okay. Because there was Valentine's Day cards that were made mocking Enoch Burke, there was parade floats that were made mocking Enoch Burke, there was memes that were made mocking Enoch Burke. And look, you do what you are doing, but ultimately what it did show to me was the people that were very much so mocking him and thought what he was doing was funny, were the very same people then that thought your rights and freedoms, civil liberties taken away from you for the last couple of years was absolutely A-OK, and that wasn't breaking any codes or laws or anything like that. You know what I'm saying? So this is shown to me yet again that this is a media that's worried. And again, it's showing you the duplicity and the deceitfulness that you're seeing throughout society now, which is like, okay, we can mock this guy here because he's standing up for what he believes in, but you guys totally can't stand up for what you believe in and show that to the rest of the people here. That's a bad idea. Says it all, doesn't it? Get on to this one here. This is another interesting situation here. This is an article and a half, lads. Like, if you don't get the chance to look into this now, have a look into it. I was looking at it, and I think in the first paragraph, I was just like, there's mountains of information there to break down. I might do a video on it anyway, because I just think that this is just showing you an awful lot of what you don't see behind the scenes, and it's showing you some of the things that go on. So, Garda homicide data whistleblower made to feel like silly little girl by officers, WRC told. Lois West says she suffered penalisation as making a protected disclosure about problems with classification of homicide data. So that's an interesting point. But what also is interesting is that this is a woman that worked, as far as I know from the article, again, allegedly, especially because in case I misspeak here or anything like that, but worked in British police and for MI5. That's pretty interesting. That's interesting, that, isn't it? And then she was talking about, there was a guy then that was her superior. Get this, guys, right? The superior's name was Dr. Singh, okay? Singh. So, from what I understand, Singh, spelled like that, as far as I know, is a Sikh name. Oh, stop. This article gets worse, man. I tell you, like, it's unbelievable. If you haven't had a chance, have a look into it. But I just thought I'd show that on that, because that one I thought was just like bananas. That was absolutely nuts. So, before we close things out here, I wanted to show you this. I talked about Nigeria earlier on, and I'm going to talk about it here again. Nigeria has had this happen only in the last week, okay? So this happened on, this article is from the 13th to the 3rd here. So what happened, now this article is a follow-up from what happened last week. So I think that this occurred here not here in Ireland, but it occurred in Nigeria either on the 7th or 8th of March. And this is what happened. Gunmen stormed the school and they captured and kidnapped children to the tune of 287 of them, along with teachers and other people that were working there in Nigeria. And I heard, now again, like I said beforehand, sometimes I hear I don't listen to RTE, I don't listen to News Talk or anything like that. This story I'm highlighting for the very reason because it hasn't been highlighted, and I think a lot more people need to be talking about this one, because this is giving you a glimpse into the people that are being left into this place as well too. When they're telling you the likes of the Black Axe gang are here, and they're telling you other gangs are setting up shop, no wonder guards are leaving in their drawers. They're like, there's no way they're going to be standing up to these fellas, because these guys behave like this. This is how they think. This is what they do. And this is an article that I would absolutely ask you to share to any lefty idiot that is out there that is open borders or is telling you to welcome in people hand over fist. Show them an article like this and see what they think about this. Not that they care about kids, they don't, because I mean they're very happy to champion the likes of the repeal the eights and telling you that's women's health care. That is no. That's evil. That is what that is, and that's where we're at with words in this time in history. You were manipulating words to make them sound very flowery rather than telling the truth. So I heard this, I did, when I was passing through a shop last week, and I said to myself, wow. And it was, do you know what struck me the most? It was Brian, was it a man, Brian Donovan? Is that your man's name? Think of from the RTA. Do you hear me? I sound like an Albidi. But he was speaking. Was it Brian Robson? No, not Brian Robson. That's a Manchester United player. Brian Donovan. Was it? Anyway, regardless. But he was talking to a Nigerian woman. And I presume that the Nigerian woman was either a politician or she was a correspondent in Nigeria. She was a member of the Press Nigeria. Do you know what struck me? And this is what struck me the most. Brian Dobson, was it? Was that it? People have been screaming in the chat like that. Brian Dobson it is. Anyway, what hit me the most was how casual she was about this. I couldn't believe it. She was like, yes, it's terrible. I'm not going to do a Nigerian accent. I wouldn't be able to do it justice. I wouldn't. There's other people that I know that can do, and they can take it off to a T. It's actually quite impressive. But she was totally unfazed. And she was like, yeah, it's terrible, and these gangs are known for this. There's no one that's claimed any responsibility, but we'll see what happens. You'll see what happens? What do you mean by that? This is absurd. But this is a glimpse into the future, lads. That's all I'm saying. These are the type of things that are going to happen here in this country, and they already have happened. Not like this now, but certain situations that have happened that are outrageous, that people are just sort of passing on. They're going, right. Like, to think about what happened to the two lads in Sligo is incomprehensible. To think what happened there only last week, there was a Brazilian fella that was he tried and convicted as well too, with insanity, and what he did to his wife, saying she was possessed by a snake god. And have a look into that story. That's an outrageous one as well. And they were like, "Yeah, that's terrible what he did there." What do you mean that's terrible? It's absolutely outrageous. But nobody's talking about that. Nobody, and that's why it's important for you to highlight these things. Nobody on the left is going to go, yeah. By the way, and this was something I did recently as well too. There was a homicide statistic that was there, and I think it was in the last year. I think nearly 50% of women, because they always like said the women's councils and stuff like that. I always like to mouth out them and say how women are directly affected by violence. Okay, right, but you're missing the point here. In my opinion, I think women are far more inherently violent they are than men. The repeal the eye thing just proves my point in my view. And the fact that you celebrate and you are all clapping each other and patting each other on the back when you do those type of things proves my point there. But when you tell me then that you have issues like that, then and then you won't highlight it because it doesn't suit your narrative, like, oh, there's more attacks on women. There's more women now that are no longer with us. Okay, let's break it down by statistics there. Let's break it down by ethnicity. Let's break it down by nationality. I know you guys are trying to give these people citizenship and claim that the guy that's from Brazil is as Irish as anybody else that's been here for generations. When I say by that, I mean generations before my ancestors. I know you're trying to do that, but when you have someone that's called like something, with a Brazilian name, I'm not going to name it in case you're like, oh, that's a different person like that. But when you have that and you try that with people, it's not going to work. And that's when people are like, when you see, there was an article that came out there yesterday, there was like a yellow van that's attempting to kidnap people. Any description of the attacker there? Any description of the people that's driving the thing around? No, just a yellow van. Because here's the thing. Our media, like I said, has become like Operation Mockingbird. It has become Americanized insofar as if you don't see if the first thing that the media aren't telling you is that the person that's doing what they're doing is Irish, you can best believe that they are not Irish. Most of the time. And a lot of people are copping onto that now as well too, and a lot of them are saying that they're like, this is probably someone that's non-Irish, and then you have the left that are like, you're wishing for it to be non-Irish. That's not the case. What you're saying is a pattern recognition that's happening here. It's like the pattern recognition with Willie O'D. Willie O'D, during the week, said that he voted no on the referendum, right? Why did he not say that beforehand? Why did he not come out and say that? Oh, but that's because he's part of the party there in India and he can't do that. Hang on here for a second. If he believes that, he should have been saying that beforehand, and other members of the party should have been joining them as well. If he doesn't believe what his leader is doing, why isn't he challenging the leadership of who is leading the party? Not only that then, but you will remember, as much as I do, that there's a pattern that's after been recognised here, which is previously on X-Men. Oh, that woke here. Did you hear about your man that's running the X-Men? He's had been fired with 2 weeks to go. He must be doing some seriously bad stuff, by the way, to be fired by Disney. Particularly the fact that he's black and gay. That's a fact. And he must have been up to some very, very bad stuff. There's a scandal incoming there, I'd say, lads. Keep your eyes on that one. But anyway, previously on X-Men, previously on what's happening here in Ireland, Willie O'D was pushed out, if you remember, a couple of years ago when the restrictions were at an all-time high and people weren't buying into it the way the government thought they were going to buy into it, because whilst they said 80%, I think it was far less than that. I don't agree with them, and I think an awful lot of businesses felt the pinch, and I think a lot of them were crying for them to be open, and I think the government had to do something as a result. So Willie O'D, if you remember, was someone that came out and was actually saying that the restrictions should be lessened and that people should be able to go back to normal. Excuse me. Terrible. So if you remember that happened, and what happened shortly after that? Well, the government actually did lessen the restrictions then. So what's the pattern that's being recognised there? We'll put out someone here that's been in the party for a very long time, that has a bit of seniority, that's going to come out and say something that a lot of people agree with, and then we're going to kind of follow that. So that's the pattern that's been recognised. And what happened only last week? Willie O'D said, yeah, I voted no on the referendum. And here's the thing, by the way, as well, too, guys, right? Because I was a bit struck by it as I am nowadays when people say things that are not expected. Okay, you said that you weren't voting yes to it. But then he said, I also think that the hate speech bill needs to be scrapped. Paraphrasing here, okay? Paraphrasing, that's not a direct quote or anything like that. And I was like, very interesting there. Now, that's a very interesting statement because, again, the same guy that's been pushed out a couple of years ago has been pushed out again, and he's agreeing with the majority of people who said no and saying get rid of this hate speech stuff here. Fascinating. And then, as I do, and as other people here do, like Tots Toby and Mick O'Keefe that are here as well too, and various others that are there, they all quoted it and they were like, elections looming, lads. It's totally looming. Spoilers there. And the following week now, they're announcing that June 7th, they're going to be going on their own election. So there you go. So these things are what's called, as I said earlier on, a pattern recognition. And once you recognize the patterns, you can see how these people are going to go. And that's why I talk about these things and why I say spoilers is because, for example, like I said, 6 months down the line, this is what these people are going to do, are going to try. And they're maneuvering these things. And like I said, I would be very wary now of any sort of party. And now I know very well that the media are probably listening to this now, and they're trying to counter narrative things all the time. I'm very aware that now they're going to have to change their tune over the next couple of months, and they have started it already. They've started in earnest, where they're going to be softly with certain parties and certain people. I would be looking at the people who they're attacking the most, and I would be looking at that and going, that's definitely who they don't want to be getting in. If the media are softly approaching certain people and they're going, well, I don't think these people are too bad, I would be going, question marks. But I would also say, don't fall into that trap either, because this is a massive game. The game just changes all the time, and the game has been altered. And whilst they have people in different positions and different places that will definitely turn for sure, you do also have to keep the eye on the ball, and there are red herrings that will be put out there. I know a lot of people were saying, well, the fact that certain people are getting interviews with papers might be a bad thing or a red flag. It's not always the case. What actually happens there an awful lot of the time when it comes to those things is some people that are meaning their best. That's how the government and that's how media do things. They'll interview and be like, oh, we're going soft. So people will cast out over certain people. Like, as I said earlier on, I would vote for people that have been consistent in what they've been doing for the last couple of years, and indeed as well too when it comes to the migration issue that we're finding here in Ireland. When you've been consistent with that, happy days. Give them a go is what I say. And my view on this whole thing is you've gone with the establishment parties for the guts of 100 years here. It's not worked out here for this country. You need to try something else. You need to try something different. You need to try something completely different from what we've been dealing with. You don't need Sinn Féin light. You don't need Fianna Fáil light. You don't need Fine Gael light. You need someone that's going to be absolutely out there going, deportations are a top priority. Refusal of people into the country in the first place is a top priority. Starting up a system with which people can be refused like that is a huge priority before they've even either A, boarded a plane from a foreign land over to here, or B, when they get here, to be sent back to where they came from as soon as possible. You need a total overhaul of the judicial system. But where I would start first, and I think a lot of people should start, is with the migration issue. If that started up, boom, I think you're on a winner there. Sinn Féin looking to turn and save face now isn't going to be something that's going to work for them. They're down on the polls big time, and when the polls are down for them, that's not good at all. What is going to happen is, though, you're going to see a lot of people, particularly independents, that are going to be running in various different areas. I would ask you that you give your vote to them. I think you should support them. And listen, I know that we are all curious people, and something we were talking about recently, ourselves even, is people are like crabs in the bucket at times. And, and this is where I think you need to put aside whatever sort of problems you have with people or anything like that. And especially if someone's doing the same what you like them, and again, paraphrasing here the satirical soldier, when someone is doing and saying things that I like, as long as they're saying and doing things that I like, that's happy days. The moment that you decide not to do that, well, then now we've probably got a problem here. But I know what Fine Gael are going to do. I know what Fianna Fáil are going to do. I know what every single member in there is going to do. They've shown you time after time what they're going to do. I know what Sinn Féin are going to do. I know what Labour are going to do. I know what the Social Democrats are going to do. I know what People Before Profit are going to do. And so do you. You're not stupid. You understand what's going on. So if you understand that, don't vote for these people. Don't give them your vote, and give your vote to someone that hasn't had a go and that is saying things and is talking the talk and is going to walk the walk. And listen, if they don't walk the walk, they don't for the years that they're in it, and it's going to be increasingly difficult for them to do it, by the way. You need to be taking up the likes of councillor spots right now. They're out there canvassing for the councillor spots. You need people in areas to be going out there that are base patriots and running in these elections. I saw a video there, I think from the David Bree channel, B-R-I, David Bry, I don't know what way to say. I know Saladin, that was being here as well too, posts up a lot of videos. I saw Fianna Fáil being ran from the door and being called Fianna Fáil. I thought it was great. And I said, like, that's great, the type of energy. We need someone in that area to be running against them. A base patriot. That is going to be knocking on doors and going, I'm not having this here, I'm not happy with this over there. Yeah, happy that is going to take care of that. I want someone, for example, there when they're out there and they're looking at Angus O'Snowdig, a guy that's after voting for hate speech laws, and you're seeing him be chased down the road. Whoever the fella is that's chased him down the road there recently, I have to say, tips to you. You were letting that guy know why, and some personal details out there as well too. Again, allegations that are made about Angus Snowdig and his family. I thought were informational pieces that I didn't know before. I don't know whether they're true. As I said, they're allegations that have been made by the fella in the video. But when you're seeing those types of treatments of politicians and the politicians go white, their faces drop, it's game on. You know then that those people ain't going to be standing up for you. The fact that they're scarping out of areas real quick shows you everything you need to know. Gino Kenny been spoken to like he's been spoken to his face, smirking and smiling like that. Wipe the smirk off his face when it comes to election time. Have someone run in his area and take his seat off him. Take Paul Murphy's seat off him. These are all people that are easily taken. What should I say? How do I want to phrase it? They're easily beatable, is what I'll say, in an election. You go around and knock on doors, I believe wholeheartedly that you can beat these people in an election. 100%. 100%. I actually think you'll actually stand in a big thing as well if you're talking with people at doors and you have the likes of clips and videos and like that. That's what you need to be doing. Or even for the older folks as well too, because they'll realise if you have pictures or something like that, for example, on a board or something like that, get creative. Show them and say, here, look what Sinn Féin are doing, look what Fianna Fáil are doing, look what Fine Gael are doing, look what the Greens are doing, look what they're doing, look what they're doing. And like have them all in unison. And like the likes of the badge, the Agenda 2030 badge, because I'll show you the one down here, right? These two gave balls. That's what I was talking about earlier. RTE as well too. Excuse me, the RTE stuff is a big distraction as well too. Don't forget. You've got this yoke here. Look at. You've got this thing. He was in hospital recently as well too, and you've got this one over here then as well too, wearing an Agenda 2030 pin. Know what I'm saying? Like that's what you have here running this show, and they're letting you know they are regularly what's going on. So what I'm saying to you is you need to have people that are running in these areas. Get up off your arse and get people running in these areas. It needs to be happening now. You're seeing councillors that are out there spouting out them, and people that are in TD positions are looking for them, vying for them. There was a fella there only yesterday, the day before, that was saying in his area, he's a politician that's blind, is somewhat blind, and he was saying he was abused when he was going down the road. But like, when you see what he's posting online, it's no surprise. When you see what he's supporting, it's no surprise. The fact that these people are shocked tells you everything you need to know. Their fingers aren't on the pulse. They don't get it. And they're not going to get it. That's the point that I'm making. You are not going to change the mind of the people that have bought into this stuff, and they're going to just keep rolling with it as far as it goes. So you need to be ensuring that your area has a representative that's out there that's going to be running these areas. And I fully believe that these people are beatable. Start the YouTube channel. That's what I'd say to you. Start the YouTube channel, highlight your area, have your area in the likes of the thumbnails, have it in the likes of in the titles or whatever it might be, and say you're running for that area. That's how to get known. Like I'm at the saying, I didn't know who Derek Domino was until last week. Like that's another person. I never knew who that person was until last week, and I got sent videos, and I was like, that guy is actually quite good. I like the wit and like that, and I like the fact that he's taking the mic, and he's an older gentleman, older than me, obviously. He might take great offense to that now. He might say, oh, actually, I'm not that old. But guys like, what I'm saying is I don't know enough about him, but what I'm saying is there needs to be either guys that of their age group or younger, even better. Younger fellas and younger women that are out there that see what's going on and saying, right, I'm going to run in that area. Like I said, you've got a layer of politicians that's running around saying, I'm being abused in the street and it's terrible because I'm blind. But you are blind first and foremost. Like that's a fact. And second of all as well too, you're aggravating people with the stuff that you're doing and the stuff that you're standing up for. So obviously you're going to face backlash when it comes to these things. Like obviously you're going to face negative criticism. Like it's going to happen. What sort of insulated bubble do you live in that you think that that's not going to happen? People are doing positive things here in this country and they're being criticized. Like where else would you get it? Do you know what I mean? They're out there trying to hammer into Derek Bloig and say, oh, this, that and the other about him. As far as I'm concerned, the guy's been doing a good job. He's a bricklayer, he's an average guy. And he's out there saying Ireland should be forced. Yeah, I can get on board with that. The fact that you're trying to link him and say he's a negative guy is telling me everything I need to know. The fact that you've got Malachy Steenson as well too, that's doing a good job with what he's doing as well too, and obviously a very clever man. That's another guy that should be running in his area and should be cleaning up there. And hopefully there's going to be changes. And this is what I'm saying. It's all based on hope. You're all hoping that something's going to go right. You're all hoping that this is going to be torn and that people are going to be able to do what they need to be doing. I think this country is in an interesting time and situation right now. I think we've got a large problem at hand. I think we have some very bad forces running the show, and I think we need people of our own that need to be in there. But I also think that these people need to be supported. Insofar as I think you need to be getting a load of them over the line and into these places, because here's the thing. It reminds me, and I was saying it to Gavin actually after the stream 2 weeks ago. It reminds me of the movie Planet of the Apes. People would be like, "What's he talking about?" But in the new ones as well too, where they have the stick, right, and they've one stick. One stick is easy to break. When you put 10 sticks together, you can't break them. Apes together are strong. Is what they say in it. It's a quote that lives with me, because I'm like, it's a fact. If you have one person going into these places, it's very difficult. Very difficult to be Matty McGrath. Has to be Sue. Excuse me. I had a cough there. I just said I wouldn't cough into the mic there. You can hear it in the voice there, you can. But you've got Matty McGrath. It has to be super difficult to be doing what he's doing on his own. So get more people in there, and people should be standing up. Padar Tobin doing what he's doing. Listen, I don't look. As far as I'm concerned, aim to do a good job on certain things. On other things, I would certainly question them, for sure. And especially when it comes to the likes of the Voldemort stuff and all that as well too. I would definitely have my questions with regard to that. But what I'm saying to you is, again, ultimately, get running in your areas, get people supported, get them up online. You need to have an online presence now. It's imperative. You need to be running these areas. Sitting back and thinking, I'm going to hold back and see what's going on. Don't do that. Go out there and show people what's going on. If there's a local Sinn Féin person in your area and they're on the train here with the rest of them, show them up and tell people what's going on. That's more of an eye-opener, I think, to a lot of people than anything else, is that Sinn Féin are turning on them. And the Sinn Féin are acting inappropriately when it comes to our country. That has been the final straw for a lot of individuals. People know what they're getting with Fianna Fáil, they know what they're getting with Fine Gael, they know what they're getting with the rest of them, but they haven't expected it with Sinn Féin. I told you before, and I'll say it again, you've got people that are out there that are massive Sinn Féin supporters that did not understand and didn't know that Mary Lou MacDonald has a brother that's now identifying as a woman. They didn't see the video of Owen O'Brien out there in the Dáil, or outside the Dáil, I should say, being asked what is a woman, and the man, as Satirical Soldier said, his soul literally escaped his body for that moment in time. Did you know he had a stroke, by the way? Allegedly speculated on that one, but he was saying he was in the stroke unit, wasn't he, on Twitter? So, again, all I'm saying is, and he's partners with Lynn Boylan, by the way, who was hanging around with Mary Lou at Dublin Castle, if you remember there from last week there. That was great, the heckling that went on there as well too, Mary Lou running away. And I think I think the apparatus is afraid, because when they've seen people turn on Sinn Féin the way they have, they expected that Sinn Féin were going to be the next ones to waltz on into the place, and they were going to be like, here, you take the can now for a while and see what happens. People ain't taking that anymore, you know. I think that's super interesting. And I'm seeing what's going on up in the north as well too. A lot of people turning on Michelle O'Neill and Sinn Féin as a whole. There's still a built-in section of people that think it's a football team and think you have to support them to their core. No, you don't. You don't have to do that. You know, listen, I support football teams. I support a football team at the moment that's not doing quite well. You all know who it is. And, like, that's just it. I'm just like, well, you know, things might improve. But ultimately, and here's the thing, it doesn't affect my life, what the football club does. But politics does. Politics affects my life and it affects your life. And I think that's why people are now starting to move towards going for these positions. They're realising that the emperor has no clothes. They're realising that these people have no brains, an awful lot of them. You've got Aidan or Reardon there that's done a video, what was it, 6 months ago? Maybe less. When he's standing in Fairview and he's standing there with his Bows jersey on. You know, the typical meme as well too, where your man standing there with the chicken fillet roll, the Bows jersey on, shouldn't the Irish go everywhere? And he's standing there going, talking to Griff, going, why would I talk to the locals? And then he's posting out a video there during the week where he's walking through and he's like, look at Tent City, this is outrageous. How many of them are you housing yourself in your own house there, Aidan? Huh? Then then he puts out a cell phone on Twitter, by the way, and he says, I've gotten to the stage where I brought my daughter to school and she said she didn't want to be seen with me. And everyone's in the comments clowning him. Like, you know, here's the thing, right? 10 years ago, people would have had a little bit of people would have stepped off from that there. They wouldn't have said anything. You'll see a lot of comments that would say, poor old lad on, and it is what it is. People were lambasting them in the comments. They were saying, she's right. She's obviously wired to you. She's probably embarrassed by it. And I was just like, this is a new thing. And this is where these politicians are coming out and going, I'm being cyber bullied. Oh, so you who are having votes to take away people's rights, freedom, civil liberties, taking away their ability to speak freely, you're offended by what people say? No, that's going to be a no for me, Doc. Anyway, guys, what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave it there. I'm going to keep it kind of close and early here tonight at 2 hours. I know there was a little bit messing with the stream, so I do apologise that I wasn't able to get to everything tonight that I wanted to. Twitter as well, too, was another thing I just didn't want to fiddle with here tonight when it came to changing up the stream or anything like that, because I didn't want it to go again because it had gone twice already. I appreciate people that hung around here. We've got 200 plus 250 here. Drop a like on the video as well, too. I really appreciate that. That really helps out the channel. That's super appreciated. It is. We're approaching, and when I say we are. It's we. You guys are as much a part of this as I am. I appreciate everyone that's out there that supports. I appreciate people that like, share, and subscribe to the channel. We're approaching 7,000, right? We're approaching 7,000 subscribers here. We're at 6,934, which is insane. I never thought that there would be that many people that would be following this channel. To see more than 200 people listening here tonight is crazy, because there are other channels that are out there that have 100,000, 200,000, some of them even 1 million subscribers. They do a live stream. There's sub 100 people looking at that live stream. To have 200 plus here, it says volumes, and I really want to say I appreciate you for being here. I appreciate everyone as well too that looks after the fact that they have a look at the stream afterwards, whether it be tomorrow, whether it be Sunday, whether it be during the week, where if you take them in bits and pieces. I highly appreciate that. A big shout out, by the way, as well too, and I want to give a massive shout out to the people in the chat, the mods especially. Guys, thanks for everything that you do. You're doing an absolutely amazing job, and I really appreciate everything that you do. And the fact that as well too, obviously when I'm going off on a tangent, that you guys are keeping things as they are in the chat, super appreciated. And I just want to say thanks and my wholehearted appreciation for everyone that's here. This, like I said, I'm someone, and I've been someone, I think, that has been very positive for the last couple of years, and I've definitely seen a light at the end of the tunnel. I think the light is starting to be shone upon Ireland right now. I think the referendum result, again, look, people are talking about, voting harder doesn't work or anything like that. I think it was insurmountable what happened last week, and I think that that's where we're at right now. Like I said, and I'll reiterate again, this is a UFC fight in my opinion. This is an MMA fight in my opinion. You got to finish the champion. The champion's got to go. And when the champion goes, I think then anything is possible. And when you become the new champion, then I think this is going to be a good country. Then we have to make Ireland safe again. We have to make Ireland great again, to take a bit of inspiration from across the pond. But in all seriousness, like all jokes aside, we do need to make Ireland a safer country. We do need to ensure that this country is going to be one that are for future generations. And I think it's super important as well too, when you're in various different places, that you got to speak up about what's going on. You can't just sit there in silence anymore. That's over and done with. The leftist run riot when it comes to talking points now, that is gone. It's finished. It's over. They've no leg to stand on anymore. And a lot of people now have woken up to that. Stop policing your own speech, please. When you're out in public and you're talking to people, wherever it may be, talk passionately, talk and keep telling the truth. That's what I keep saying to people, and that's going to be the new phrase I think I'm going to be using here from now on. Keep telling the truth. The truth will set you free, as they say. But I really humbly and wholeheartedly mean that. Keep telling the truth. So thanks. I'm going to jump into the chat here. I'll be back on the 29th of this month. I'm hoping to have a guest that night. I've confirmed it with the guest, but I don't want to reveal the guest quite yet, because in case something pops up or anything like that, because I know the guest does be very busy with what he does in his own life, indeed as well too, what he does for Ireland as far as I'm concerned, and is going to be running an election. So I want to get people, this is where I want to be doing like every kind of fortnight, especially up into June. It might change. I might either do a stream on another day, or what I might do is I might just try and focus some of the streams on people that are running as candidates in areas. That's, I think, where I'm going to shove an awful lot of attention, because I think, like I said earlier on, when you see groups that are out there that are looking to enforce their people, they are, once one of them does things, 5 others, I think that's what we need to be doing as well too. I think we need to be insulating. I think we need to be getting people and showing people who they are. That might be the first time. Listen, my old lad said it to me as well too. It was the first time he saw Gavin Pepper last week, or the week before last. That's a positive. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, that's a new face, that's a new name that's been brought up. The L Boy's going to be talking about him to other people as well too, and various others that are out there that have never seen him before. And that's why I want to be bringing people on, because that's a huge talking point for other people as well too, to say, look, who's out there, who's in my area. A lot of people don't know. A lot of people are sitting there going, yeah, that counsellor there for Fianna Fáil's not the worst. He's not, he's the best of a bad bunch. No. Get rid of them. They need to go. You need to get someone that's running in your area, that cares about your area, that lives in your area, and is going to do something for your area. So let's keep going here through the chat there. You've got Owen Lyons that says this is a revolution. 100%. 100%. Armchair Limerick Nationalist. And a peaceful one at that as well too. A democratic one, to be important about that there. Sound for the stream says Armchair Limerick Nationalist. And thanks there to Ruckus. Ruckus sends in out super sticker there. Much appreciated. So let's jump in here and we'll have a look. Air Only B1014, I was talking about the Balahadareen. I'm hoping I'm butchering that name. Vid before Ninja, very good there. So there's an alpha there that was talking about what was going on in his area. Let's keep going there. Slap Happy, it was the same with the other Irish voices. So again, if anyone has something to say, would you just at Ninja Night in the chat? I'll appreciate that there. Let's keep going there as well too. Oh, by the way, I always forget to shout him out, but I should. Grant Torino as well too. I know Grant Torino shouts me out on an awful lot of streams as well too, and what he does, I think that's really appreciated as well too, especially when you're looking at he's one of the OGs that were on these platforms that were letting people know what's going on. So that's obviously a super appreciated situation. Let's keep going there as well. A lot of people know as well too that that's going on. Seeing Fergan here earlier on as well too. Fergan, not to miss in the chat because when they kicked me out, it's that they're putting me back in here and so they're changing up where the chat was. So I hope I'll catch you later on this here. Let's have a look here. Derek Manis was saying ran out to the car to get the work pad and it isn't even linking to the stream. Says it all. A lot of people let me know I'm back there. So I'm just looking at from 9 o'clock onwards there. So that's kind of when the stream started to dip out and then it came back then as well. Let's keep going here through the stream. Just Jim and stuff says YT, Insta, FB and others can all be controlled and manipulated to do as government says. TikTok can't be, even more so with X. It's pure obvious what they're at. Yeah, for sure. When you're looking at what's going on with TikTok, I have my issues with that, and obviously as well too, given the fact that he was on the board there with them and the fact that what they're pushing, I would say it's a large question mark I would have had over there. It's huge, okay. So I would have had a big question mark around them beforehand, but in the last week or so, when you're seeing likes of how would you say it, a big group in America that is ran by a bald-headed fella that looks like Lex Luthor, but he is part of the group with Seth Rogen and Ben Stiller, if you catch the drift there. It's a 3-letter agency. It starts with A, ends with L. There's a D in the middle of that there. And when he's like, listen, guys, and he's recorded as well too, it was like, TikTok's out of hand, we're losing the narrative. I'm like, okay. And he's like, the game is the next generation. It's the young people. That's how they view it. They view this as a game. And that's the thing. They view it as a game that they are going to 100% win. And because they can't control certain things, it's like, okay, shut everyone up. And when you get to that stage, people are going to have a huge problem. Huge. It's going to be huge, okay? We're going to be out there. We're going to be sending all these guys home. Steve Dixon says, I get shadow banned post comments. I can see them, but no one else can. Very weird. Yeah, it's very, very frustrating. It is for sure. CK Media Train says, don't let them stop you. Yeah, absolutely. It won't be happening at all. I'll keep doing what I'm doing, whether it be on this platform or another one. Johanna's in here as well too. Good to see you. Leanne Curtis in here as well too. How are you getting on? Tuners are finished as well too. A lot of people are saying here. Great to see. We've got is it Hillbilly John? What a name. Hillbilly John. Says Yup Fergus. Saints and Scholars is in here as well too. Good to see you here. Let's keep moving here as well too. John Doyle says, I believe you're far right now, Father. Should we all be far right now, Father? The Gardaí will be called far right for investigating those guys jumping out of a trailer, won't they? That's a joke. That's a joke, chap, isn't it? Air the Force says, Hi Ninja, I'm your number one fan in the voice of Kathy Bates. Oh, stop. I love the fact that people come in here and have a good laugh. Frank Barnes says, my niece thinks Ninja Knight is Niall McConnell in disguise. I can't put a northern accent on, that's the thing. How are you doing, Dyer? Was that a decent? Was that an alright? What else could you say there? People would be like, "Don't try it, ninja." Anyway, we'll keep going before I get off. There will be fellas. Yeah, you've got the stuff that's going over in Haiti is pretty interesting as well too. Twitter was probably the only place that was reporting on what was actually happening there, and everywhere else is like, these are the guys that the border needs to be open for. And wasn't it Trump that said it in like 2017? It's like, it's a shithole. It's a third world country. It's an absolute shithole. And we're gonna bring these guys here. No, no, no. And then it's like years later, it was it 7 years later, then he's proved right. It is not a good place. So anyway, we've got Kirky Bally says, haven't watched TV in 24 years. Fair play. Steve Dixon says, I'm definitely more conservative than Miel Pair. Yeah. I think a lot of older people as well too, and not to be dismissive or anything like that. I think they're like, young man's game here, your fight, let's just enjoy our time. Dennis McGrath says, you talk to John Waters on here. I don't have any contact with John Waters at all. I don't know whether he's on social media or anything like that. It's another person that's been recommended to me as well too, to have on to interview, and obviously, you know what I mean, I'm open to anybody to come on to interview, you know what I mean, like that's the way I am. Like I'll talk to anybody, I will, and that's what I want to do when it comes to these things. People will say, well, will you talk to any leftists or anything here on the channel? I won't talk to just any leftists here on the channel. I would use that for Twitter, because the thing is that these people like to come on, they try and get you taken off these places on these platforms, so we wouldn't trust those people as far as you could go with them, is what I'll say. There's a euphemism in there, there's a phrase that's used there, but you won't use it because you know yourself. But I wouldn't talk to them on this platform, no, the left, because again, it's too volatile from them people. Those people are super emotional, and they will say things they will to try and get your channel removed. So no, they won't ever come onto this channel here. They won't at all. But if they wanted to have a chat on Twitter through a live stream, through Spaces, no problem at all. And I've offered many of them to debate on live streams before on Spaces, and they all refuse. So I've never gotten a positive reaction there from those on that. So if they don't want to do one over there, they're not going to come over here and going to be speaking on this channel. It's just how it is. However, what I will say is anybody that's on our side of the fence, anybody that's come onto this channel has been super respectful, has been really, really good, has been well liked and enjoyed by the people that are here. And that's how I'm opening the platform up to here. Like anyone that wants to come on, I'd have anyone on that's on our side of the fence. Anybody, you know. And I think that a lot of people here feel the same. They're like, yeah, I'd love to hear that. I'd love to hear you talking to different people. So yeah, John Waters, that'd be definitely someone that I would be interested in having on for sure. Getting talking to him and seeing what he thinks and his view on what the situation is and how to get out of it. And if we can get out of it, which is another thing. People are having a good chat there in the chat there. Enderline Joel says, Ninja Knight, Joel rhymes with goal. Joel, yeah, okay, right, we're good there. Freeing Enoch and free Sam. For sure. Absolutely. Frank's Power's in here. It's at 9:10 there. We'll have to catch up here now for a couple of hours there. Baron Strawberry, it's all about feelings, not truth. They hate it. Yeah, it's very much all about feelings. A lot of these people don't. You're arguing with the TV with a lot of people, and that's why when someone's like, you want to talk to the left on here, you're arguing with the TV with these people. They don't have a comprehensive understanding of what's going on. They don't want to understand what's going on, and they will vehemently defend the apparatus because they've appealed to their emotions. They haven't appealed to any sort of logic that these people follow, because they don't follow logic, they follow emotionals. Let's keep going here through the chat and see what's going on. History is written by the winners, 100% there for absolute sure. Let's keep going here. Baron Strawberry's in here. It says, I enjoyed your interview with John Waters, such a good man. So that's obviously someone else that's in here as well too. Baron Strawberry, I haven't heard of beforehand, but has done obviously an interview with John Waters. That's great. So good to see you here. Glad to see you here. And I don't know where you've come from, but whoever's recommended me to come on here, I hope you've enjoyed the first shop tonight. I haven't seen you before. Steady Eddie says, spot on, Ninja. Let's keep going here. I'll probably do a video. I'm sure Derek probably did put it up on the channel as well too, but I'll probably do a video on what they've done with Derek and just give me opinion on that as well. Living the dream, says good man Ninja. Steve Dixon says children going missing left, right and centre. Yeah, and absolutely no concern being shown about that when it comes to our government whatsoever. They just want to sweep it under the carpet and tell you that the women should be erased from the Constitution. Ulick, great username there, says with algorithm Sismers Sean sounds like a good return for insurance companies, whatever that means. Derek Mann says fifth allegedly, respectively. Keeping count. I'm trying to keep them. I'm trying to keep them low these days, Derek. So you're gonna have to play a different game. Trying my best I am. John Doyle says you can't get car parts as quick. Can they bring some car parts with them? Be useful at least. Now people talking amongst themselves in the chat there. Civil disobedience, says Bilderberger. Bob says drive slowly around the city ESB hubs. We'll have problems then. Civil disobedience has proven to be effective when it came to likes of the face nappies and that. Rocket says, Ninja, how do they intend to process all these foreigners? That's a great comment. Great comment. I don't think they do. Steve Dixon says they use the oxygen detection equipment to detect people and traders. Apparently, they need to check their equipment. Lol. That's a great comment there. That's a great comment. And yeah, I mean, there you go. There's someone that obviously knows a little bit more than I do when it comes to those there. So amazing. So what are these guys doing? Are they all holding their breath when they're putting those machines on? You know what I'm saying? Steady Eddie says, how do you get on the plane without ID? Fergus Power says, look forward to talking to you, brother. Hope to see loads of you at St. Patrick's Day. Family fun day we've organised in the park for patriots and their families. What date is that there, Fergus? Is that on Sunday? Are you doing it on Sunday, or is it going to be a 3-day or 2-day thing? Like, what is it? Let me know so they can promote that as well too. I'm sure it's obviously on St. Patrick's Day itself. Let's keep going here now. Some people are having good fun there in the chat there. Sheepdog says they will do a few promotional deportations before the elections in July. Nothing sure. Yeah, no, I'm fully thinking that that's exactly what they will do. They'll have a couple of high profile ones, or what they'll do is actually they might even just make up someone, you know, because they're some, like I said earlier on, they're making up some wild stuff, and I don't mean making up stuff, but they're revealing some stuff as well too about your woman allegedly that's married to your man in France there that run the show. You know what I'm saying? They're digging up some stuff, and they're like, there's people that she was supposedly, again, allegedly she married to in the past, and they're like, that person didn't exist. Art Hostage says Pope sent up the white flag last week, precursor to end the Ukraine v Russia war. Yeah, and like I said earlier on, the Yale boy was saying there that the Russian group had, what was he saying? He said the Russian group had said from the outset that they just wanted to talk, and basically that the other fella, that was keeping an eye on the place, was saying, listen, I wanted to talk to Russians. I spoke to France. France said, let me get back to you. And France said, no, we're going to support you in whatever way we can. And he was like, no, I was open to talking. Well, that's a big yikes. Who gave you the okay to keep going then? Who gave the okay for this to keep moving? I think the finger's been pointed at certain places, and I think a lot of people are starting to realise now who's been keeping these things and problems going for a very long time. And look what has been pushed over. I mean, when you look culturally at how much of a big say America has in world politics and indeed with entertainment, and you know, they were looked as world police for a long time. I saw that as well. There was a great meme the other day that was you know, the one Homer Simpson, and it was just like, nobody gets to threaten you except me and the boy, and it's like the American flag on Homer, and the boy is like Google, Facebook. I thought it was hilarious. They did. I was like, oh, that's a banger there. It is. That's absolutely 100% accurate there. A lot of people aren't fans of Peter Tatchell or Cromwell in the chat there, which is good to see. That's always the sound chat that you got. Gary says, what was going on during them lockdowns? A lot of new arrivals being brought on the site. Yeah, sure. Do you remember Keelings? I still won't buy fruit from Keelings. I won't, because I was like, they brought people in as fruit pickers. Remember that one? A lot of people forget this. Steve Dixon says, Irish people have white privilege. Give me a break. Yeah, we were so privileged to be under a British oppression for over 800 years, wouldn't we? That's super privilege. Let's have a look here. B says, Ninja Knight, can you look into TUA housing? They're housing these foreigners and giving them everything. I'll look into that. Absolutely. I feel when someone says you look into something, I can always remember Christian Bale's Batman, and Gary Oldman as Jim Gordon says to him, can you look into this? And he's like, I'll look into it. Christian Bale's Batman was a solid Batman. Ben Affleck's one though, that's where I'm at. I like him. He's my favourite. Let's have a look here. What did you all think as well too about the John Cena incident? Did you see that there? You're trying to get a bit of the last shred of credibility for Hollywood is out the door, and You can see the humiliation. That's like what Cat Williams was saying, the humiliation ceremonies that these people are doing. That's exactly what John Cena is doing in a lot of people's views. Derek Man says, ain't they just the Sinn Féin people who didn't support the removal of kids? Yep. Ain't they supports open borders, but they do some good things. Yeah, we need to be having people that are like 100% going, no, we're not having this at all. Let's keep going here. Let's keep. Yeah, a lot of people backing up the claims that were made earlier on there when it comes to things. A lot of people are big fans of the Christian talk as well too. Like I said, if you Ronan McCaughey says, "What's your views on paganism?" I personally don't think that you can be pagan. In my view, especially with everything that's gone on, but that's just a personal experience that I've had. All I'm saying is that my personal experiences, and that's all I give an awful lot of the time when it comes to these things. I don't really believe in paganism. I believe wholeheartedly in God. I think that, if there wasn't a God, I don't think these people would work as hard as they do to try and disprove it. And I think there's something inherently lacking, I think, in someone that doesn't think there is a God or tries to disprove it, with paganism as well, so I suppose when you're talking about as well, you could be also mentioning the fact that there's people out there that believe like in woodland, I'm not diminishing here or anything like that, but woodland fairies and certain other rituals as well too that could be certain. I mean, I've heard about people going to paganism weddings, and it sounds quite odd to me. It's kind of like the humanist stuff as well. I'm like, yeah, I'm not really sure on that one. I'm not really a big agreeable person when it comes to those. But again, that's just me. Other people feel differently. I'm just giving my view on when it comes to these things here. Let's keep going here through the chat. I wish that YouTube had this feature where when it says at Ninja Night that it could actually like highlight or it could in the chat, so it makes it a lot easier for me. But I enjoy talking to the chat and getting back to you as well. Garrett says the reason the Romans turned Roman Catholic is because they witnessed the real deal. Yeah, an emperor had a big change of heart there when it came to that there. JK says if Leo's mom went to her husband's homeland instead of bringing her husband and a base of voters now, many thousands would say. Yeah, well, it's a thing for sure that people are wishing that these women will just head on to the other country and then go, right, you can sort your problems out over there rather than bringing our problems here and then trying to claim that people are racist for saying, don't think so. Holy moly, I'm on here at 20 to 10. Oh yeah, big shout out there as well too. Props to Roddy Murray. Edmund Christo says, big shout out to him. He's doing a great job as well too with documenting what's going on, and that's a big factor. JK says the people I see in Saggart, many are black. If the government didn't ship to other towns, Dublin would be no more. We might have to have a border lockdown. I think a border lockdown is something that is extreme, obviously, but I do think that we need for sure something that needs to be changed. So maybe a border lockdown. Like we need an Australia style border here. We do. If you were messing in another country, you can't come in here. If you don't have the means to support yourself, you can't come in here. You know what I mean? You can't do it. Fergus Power says, lads, if we missed any comments or anything, I'm in and out collecting things for the family day Sunday, so I'm not being ignorant or anything, okay? No one ever accuse you of that there, Fergus. So Sunday's the day there that the family gathering are happening there. Will you give us a location as well too? If you can, Fergus, that'd be great because to let people know. Derek says, even the prison staff don't like certain offenders. Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. And how could you? You know what I mean? Any rational person should be standing there going, hang on here for a second, what were these people doing? And a lot of people, again, it's an intrinsic thing where you're just disgusted. Who's that there? Catherine O'Connell says, did Charlie push Dib Dabs? Well, he did. He was saying that he couldn't wait to get his, and he was saying that he was looking forward to it. And that when his time came, he would. And he was calling people anti-Voldemort people. Obviously, he used a different word there than Voldemort, you know. John O'Shea says, Ninja, you're going soft not giving Charlie Border doing. Do you know what the thing is? It's like I said earlier on. When it comes to your man O'Regan, he 100% went all in against people like us. And whereas the board fella, from what I've seen, it was it looked more like naivety really from his point of view, you know. But the fact that the timing seems to link up, in my opinion, again, I'm only opinion based here. I'm only speculating here, but it seems like the time when it would have been rolled out for his age group, and then when the neurological issue started, seemed to be an interesting timeline. Is all I'm saying. What I also think is very strange is I also think the fact that they gave him so much press, I think was weird. I also think that the fact that they were giving him so much adulation was very strange. And then you also then see then like they put out a video of him and he's sitting beside Charlie Haughey, and I was like, no. Ninja Knight says give those four lads time off for good behaviour. Absolutely, 100%. Let's keep going here. But see, this is the thing. Like those fellas probably wouldn't be looked at as having good behaviour when they do that. You know what I mean? That's the absurd thing. That's the absurd thing. Let's keep going. I have to like. Do you know what the funny thing is about too? There's a couple of people that jump in here, and I'm sure there's a couple of people that jump in and they go, "This channel is mental." There is because they haven't been here since a while ago. And I was saying it before, and I was saying to Gavin even after the stream. I was just like, there's certain points in time where like, you know, I'm looking at someone. I'm like 6 months before that, I was like, that's a mad way to look at things. And 6 months later, I'm like, yeah, no, that makes sense. That totally makes sense. I get what you're saying over there. You know, like I seeing, for example, and just as an entertainment side of things, seeing the original Red Mighty Morphin Power Rangers putting out T-shirts with quotes on them. Now he stated in it, he's like, I'm going to be doing quotes of warriors throughout history, and then he's like mentions Chuck Norris and Bruce Lee and others, and he's like some people that did not so good things as well too, like Genghis Khan and various others. Who did they focus on though? Who did the entire media focus on? They focused on the fact that he was saying that he was going to be putting a fella that was an Austrian painter, his quotes on T-shirts about too. That's the only person they focused on. They were like, Dan Wayne, Chuck Norris, and Bruce Lee, who he's highlighting, and he said he's going to be putting on. Do we want to be talking about what the Austrian painter said? I'm like, that's weird how you keep trying to shut that down. I think it's very fascinating, and is especially with what we're looking at now here at this moment in time. Like I said, I'd have been someone, and this is just to give you my point of view. Like I like Captain America and I like all that sort of stuff, and I like the fact that like they had a viable, like as it was, enemy, and I played Call of Duty and I've done all those things. I've watched all those movies, but I look at it through and you, I would have always been someone until the last few years, until the likes of the sniffles and stuff like that, just to tell you yourselves, because I'm sure a lot of you are the same. I'd have been always someone that would have been like, yeah, it must have been some very terrible things that have happened there, because so many history books and stuff like that were written and so many people talked about it. But then as I got older, I was just like, that's weird that Operation Paperclip happens. And then when you look into it, like, and talk to people about it, loads of people don't know about that, and you're like, that's a weird situation. Sure, aren't they? If one of them are bad guys, are not all of them bad guys then? But you took some of them, and then there starts to be a little bit more than a few more holes in the story that you're like, okay, that's fair enough. All right, we'll get that. But then you see what's happened over the last couple of years, where it's in your face, and you're like, right, so if someone's there with a mobile phone, they're telling you nothing's going on there in certain parts of the world, and yet the media's telling you that there's some awful things happening, but there isn't. Well, then now we don't know what's actually happening, and as a result, now I'm questioning everything that happened before. So, again, like I said, you know, I was watching Joe Rogan recently as well, and he was talking to a guy, and he was talking about, for example, the Austrian painter, and he was just like, a lot of people didn't know. He says that the GDP of the country, they're like, how did he ever become so powerful? GDP of the country was in the toilet it was after World War One, and then when it got to World War Two, then obviously when that sparked up, but beforehand he was actually creating a resurgence in Germany itself, and it was becoming strong again. And there you go, like you're like, well, that's interesting, isn't it? But like, I mean, say 10 years ago, not even 10 years ago, maybe about 5 years ago, you wouldn't have been able to remark upon that at all. But it was on Joe Rogan, it was on pretty mainstream stuff. And then you're looking at people then that are overly now going like, doing, like as I said earlier on, AI conversations as well too, where they're typing in information, the AI is spitting things out, and like, nah, that couldn't have happened. And you're like, okay. Or where they're saying, for example, if you're barred from roughly 108 pubs, if you're banned from 108 pubs, and are you the problem, or are the pubs the problem? And the AI is spitting back out, and it's like, no, you're definitely the problem if you have to be barred from 108 pubs. And then you see the tunnels, for example. They're not talking about the tunnels they aren't done in New York anymore as well too. You're looking at the entertainment industry. You're looking at who Candace Owens is beefing with right now. This is, I suppose, an offshoot of what we're talking about here. But I just think it's fascinating where we are at right now, and I think it's a good thing that people are asking questions with regards to things. I think as well too when you're criminalising people, and that's something I always thought as well. When you're criminalising people and asking questions about one thing, it doesn't really. It means that you don't really have much of an argument. Then sure, it doesn't if you're trying to criminalise people for that. It's a strange one, isn't it? You know. Anyway, but it's enough of that. We'll keep going. Ivor Cummins, the fat emperor, saying it for years: low carb keto. Yeah, eggs, milk, beef. Raw milk is another thing, by the way, as well, too. A lot of people are talking about recently as well. JK says 49 never had an issue with water and Ireland. Install one of those filters and you might have a bit of a different view. That's my view. Sean Max says aspartame and all those diet soft drinks. Yeah, it's in all of them. The water thing is gaslighting the trauma band, the Irish at Ninja Night. I am out. Cayman Conway says great stream. Thank you very much. Much appreciated. Air Force says you've canine teeth for a reason. Absolutely. David McNamara says cattle have Voldemort's. Yeah, and it's a big business for them going forward. 100%. They've openly talked about that. So if you can source your beef from somewhere that's better, that'd be great. A lot of people are turning to farmers markets as well too, which is a good thing. So we'll wait and say, yeah, but yeah, 100% David McNamara, you're right there, you're on the money. You've got all the world's biggest players, the bad guys, openly telling you that they want to open and buy farms and inject and all of that, and you're going, yep. And if you're trying to get us one way, you'll get another. For sure. Let's keep going here. Danny Boy says, don't think you remember this, Ninja, but back in the 90s I worked for a company called Rural Resettlement Ireland. We or I often travel to rural towns and villages to reassure the locals that dub. I'm sure that's going to be a continued commentary there. Can't see a continued comment there, but yeah, people move down to those areas, they did for sure, like, you know. And what you've got now as well too is a population that I always find it funny in population. This is why I said it a while ago, and I was like, the country people need to be getting involved with these things, because the EU guys are really super at being very insular and being like, no, I'm not having this, not having any messing in the communities. We have Sean Mac that says food now full of additives and it gives you fierce blows, stomachs and wind. Yeah, and a lot of different digestion problems as well too. A lot of people have different issues. And you've got, like, for example, there, Chad Mendes that was saying he went onto that carnivore diet and his psoriasis cleared up. He did in no time. So I thought that was pretty interesting to see. That's more people talking about it is a good thing. The Point Master is great to have you back, Ninja. Good to see you here as well too. Thanks for sharing all the memes with me as well. I really appreciate that. Martin McAlonan says, what morons agree to unlimited immigration? Ones that are being paid highly to do so. Old Skill Pete says, it's a strange old world. It wasn't long ago. Have you heard the one about the Prime Minister? It was the lead up to joke. Waters the weakling, says Chris Quirk. It's a good one. Let's keep going here. Irish and Torres, if Radgar doesn't know the reproductive system from the digestive system, and it's supposed to be a doctor trained in India. A lot of people call into question his actual abilities as a doctor as well, which is another fascinating situation. Also, our boy says, just seeing the photo of a sick lefty half undressed in an Irish children's library. Ridiculous. And then they come out and say to people that the people that are barging into those things and are stopping them from happening are negative. I always laugh at that. I always like, that's crazy. That's mental. Someone said something about adoption up here. Hang on here for a second, because I've got an interesting. So James Casey there says, are adoption issues or single parents issues or any other developmental issues in curriculum? So why this? Gorman. I only learned recently that Russia, for example, right? Russia won't let people adopt children from Russia if the country has voted for same-sex marriages. Fascinating, that, isn't it, when you think about it? You're like, Russia still sees them as, classifies them as a citizen, and they're like, you ain't gonna go there and you're not gonna be warped. You know, I think that's fascinating. Like, when you look at it like from that point of view, other people might say, well, you can have your own opinion on that. But certainly Russia obviously views it like, no, you're not messing with any of our people here. Yeah, do you know, some people are saying foreigners aren't flaws. They probably have a Black St. Patrick or something like that here. It's probably happened already, but they probably do it again. And people say, oh, it's always the Black. No, they probably have, like, you know, for example, a woman that refers to herself as a Troy bilingual penguin or something like that there up on them, So, do what you're doing. Kevin McMahon says, Ninja Knight, can you ask all nationalists to write no on their tricolour flags on St. Patrick's Day parades to celebrate the no side win and meet other no voting nationalists? That wouldn't be. I personally wouldn't endorse that. What I would just say is tricolours. That's absolutely fine. I don't think writing on them is a good idea. I certainly don't think writing no on them is a good idea. The English Hermit says, not even sure what this channel is yet. Just got recommended, and with a name like Ninja Knight, I had to see. Super, and thanks very much. Who recommended you? Was it the algorithm? Was it YouTube, or was it someone else? Be pretty interesting to see who recommended you, and I hope you enjoyed tonight's stream. And welcome to the madhouse is what I'd say, because this is a channel that's wild. And I know like you've probably gotten some, and a lot of people do, they come in here and they're like, I thought this was a channel that reviewed movies or talked about leftism and cancel culture. And it's like, this channel, listen, over the last while has just morphed into different things. And I'm talking a lot more about what's going on in Ireland, because that's what people are interested in. It's what I'm interested in right now. Of course, I have me interest, and that's why I weave them in to things like this, like the streams. Soldier for Christ says, I happen to see all the new recruits leaving the college in Templemore today. A lot of diversity coming out. Interesting times ahead. Interesting times ahead is what I would say. Let's keep going. People talking about Willie O'D there in the chat. Willie O'D is a funny looking character as well too, isn't he? All these people have been career politicians for a very long time. All strange looking people, John Doyle says, just a yellow van. If it was a black van, it was just a vehicle. That's a good gag. Yeah. Some people making some comments about the guy running next man. Paddy Frank says, anyone that can vote, seek out the nationalists you can vote for and vote them all in. Get this current government out. We agree with you on that one for sure. Frank Power says, Ninja Knight, good night and God bless you all, beautiful patriots. Myself and Leanne Mooney have organised a family day for patriots and children on Sunday, taking back St. Patrick's Day for the true Irish. Much appreciated for that one there, Ferg. Super stuff there. I was really proud of that video, by the way, that did 10,000 views before the referendum. Thought that was amazing, and thanks to everybody that shared that and liked it. I really appreciate that. Like the fact that got 10,000, I was super proud of it. Like a lot of videos that I do, obviously I have pride in them, obviously, and I think that they do what they do. But I was super happy when it came to that. I really, really appreciate that. Coach Cat says, Ninja Knight, you are brilliant. Thank you very much. Much appreciated. And all I'm doing is just giving me opinions here when it comes to these things, And I endorse anyone else to be put on to this platform. Get yourself on here and tell people what you think as well, too. Because the more of us that are here, the better. Sheepdog says, curious how they named Derek but no mention or description anymore of criminals being sought for serious crimes. As Ninja says, that funny that. Yeah, it is. They're very happy to plaster Fergus. They're very happy to plaster Derek. They're very happy to plaster Philip and various other people all over the media. But when it comes to people, they're like, have you noticed that recently as well? Where they're like, the person's identity who was up in court and who has been convicted, we have to protect their identity. For what purpose? Well, it's for the victim. Okay, right. But why not the perpetrator? Why would you not do that? And not only that, then there's other cases as well too where it isn't of a certain nature that they're actually not naming the culprit. And I'm like, that is weird, because again, I think what's happening is I think they're realizing for sure that you're building up, like, for example, like Mick O'Keefe, what he does as well too, he highlights as well his thoughts, hobby that's out there, that highlights who's doing what here in this country. And I think that is really, really important to keep highlighting that when it comes out then, and to follow up on it, like the lads do. The lads follow up on it all the time. Catherine O'Connell says, Night Ninja Night, good stream. Thanks very much. Much appreciated. Esther McDonald says, you make your communities you together, you hire places, you hold dances. Yep. Let's keep going here. Cheers there. Sean's Everything Craft says, cheers, Ninja. You do great work. Thank you very much. Refusing Sean's is good chat as always. Sean's Everything Crafting says, night all. Let's keep going here now and see. Thanks for Ninja for another great chat, says Kevin McMahon. Until next time as well. Support Irish channels, says Catherine O'Connell. Thanks very much. I'm embarrassed. Appreciate you too, Ninja. Thank you, mods from Letitia Logan. Let's keep going here. Salty Crackers another one as well too. I definitely have on American obviously as well too. But why to what's going on? Irish and Tourists says make Ireland Irish again. The English Hermit says always the same people at the top making us all fight one thing or another, and if that don't work, you guys to fight each other. Absolutely, you're correct on that one there. Johanna T says thank you, Ninja, and all much appreciated. Mega says Sean's Everything Crafting. Streaky Bacon says Mega, not Mega. I like that one. Make Air great again. I like that one. Occident Advocate says Artie Griffiths would be horrified if you could see Sinn Féin now. I'm sure a lot of them would be. I'm very, very horrified to see what's going on here. And that's the thing. You know, everyone forgets as well too, by the way, that Mary Lou McDonald is a former Fianna Fáiler. Everyone forgets that. Everyone doesn't remember that one, which they should. SGD says Grant Arena was great listening on Monday evenings. Ron says Paris says Streaky Bacon as well. One of the OJs there when it comes to these things. Cozy Cat says when is the next stream? So that's going to be March 29th. It's going to be in 2 weeks as well. That's in 2 weeks yet. So I'm hoping to have Fergus. That's the guest. I've spoiled it now, have I? I'm hoping to have Fergus Power on for that one. So that's going to be exciting. So hopefully you can do it. If you can't, look, I'll let you know in due course. But with a bit of luck, you'll be able to do it. And be on Good Friday as well. So there you go. Sheepdog says Christian Morris also gives you a lot of shout outs and tonight. He's a good one. Yeah, he's following me on Twitter as well too. He chimes in on that as well too. I'm sure he looks at some of the stuff and he's like, Twitter for me is shit posting, and I enjoy having a laugh as well too. So take some of what I say on Twitter seriously, and most of it I'm just having a laugh anyway, you know, because I know what Twitter is. We'll keep going here through the chats. Yeah, there's attacks happening daily now as well too. A lot of people are talking about that in the chat there. They're happening daily, and that's a sad thing as well too, that it's becoming so normalised, you know. Frank Barnes says, if you talk to Barney Strawberry, he might connect you to John Waters. Yeah, for sure. If you're not following me on Twitter, do follow me and we'll chat over there. Let's have a look now through the chat. We finish off here now because I'm closing up here. I'm closing shop. Air to only be 1014 says Ninja Knight get Keith Woods on as a guest. Yeah, definitely. I'd have Keith Woods on, no problem. Yeah, no problem at all. He knows what's going on as well. You know, he knows He knows who was influenced on what and how they're doing it. Yeah, big. He's a big. He's a big account on Twitter now. He's a very influential one. I think he was recently in like the top 70. I think he was, which I think is fairly large. What is Facebook people are saying there? Yeah, that's gone. That's for the dollars anyway. But they have huge reach there. For example, Keith Woods on Twitter, which is a really good thing. And he's becoming more well known. It's panicking the regime and the apparatus. Frank Barnes says Ninja Knight Enoch Powell thought that the end of the Cold War would have ended American imperialism in Europe. He got that one wrong. People having a good laugh between themselves there in the chat. Love to say. Sheepdog says they are not real pagans. Ninja Knight, all the weird wedding stuff. Paganism is demonized for a reason. I am Mo. Any that tips my ears, rightly or wrongly, I don't know. Just my tuppence. Yeah, look, I mean, whatever you think on those things, you know, it's not my personal belief, and it's not something that. Like, that's the thing. That's the thing with me. I'm like, you do you, whatever you were doing. Like, once it's not affecting me, you know, that's how I feel. You know, but in my view, I think there's one way, there's one truth, and that's it. You know, but that's just me. English Hermit says Scotland, Wales, Ireland, and England, as well as lots of other countries, had drills. It's got to be something to it. Lol. Yeah, and then look, you know, there's a lot of influence there for sure. And then you see likes of Stonehenge and Newgrange and stuff like that as well too. There's a lot of different things that are crossovers there. But sure, look, you know, when it comes to these things, not a crossover. Let's keep going here as well too. People are saying we don't have enough ships for 50,000 people. Let's make one. Let's make the biggest one ever. Letitia Logan says, yes, nephew had neurological issues after the Voldemort 23 couldn't debate with his mother, wouldn't listen. Shocking. Hate to hear that, I do. I hope he's all well now, though. A lot of parents got bought into those things and, didn't listen to others. Very special says, Nish, I had to keep the location a secret because of the left brother. I'll message you privately and anyone else that wants to go, okay? God bless you all, our destiny, our absolutely 100%. Good shout as well, too, when it comes to that as well, Ferg, Good idea there. Because those people will want to show up and will want to try cause a bit of bother. So fair play. Good idea there. Let's keep going through the chat. And we are caught up, I think, now. I think I'm 15 minutes behind the chat here. I think I've gotten through it there in about 40 minutes. Hasn't been too bad now tonight. Getting through it. There's no YouTube recommended on homepage, says the English Hermit. Shocked to hear that. But glad to have you here anyway, and appreciate you dropping in and having a chat as well too. Yeah, I got a notification as well too through email about the chat tonight, and not about the chat, about the live stream tonight. And I said, well, that's an unusual one. Nathan Hawk says, Ninja Knight, you going to run for a president? I don't think so, but that would be great. But anyway, I don't think so. Frank Barron says, Ninja Knight in the Waterford IT in the atrium of the main building, they had a load of foreign flags celebrating St. Patrick's Day. Absolute traitors. Yeah, colleges now people are starting to get the eyes on colleges now, and they're starting to look. There was a guy there that was talking about DCU. I think, is he a DCU lecturer? And he was just like, I think he quoted an article and was like, yeah, let's see how these chemicals go, and let's see how they work out. And some fella from the University of Galway, of course, pronouns in the bio, who was a lecturer over there, was just like, I'm reporting you to your college. Okay, well, it means that your argument obviously doesn't stand up then if you can't debate them or anything like that, and instead you want them censored. It says an awful lot there to me. Robert McGuire says, hi Ninja, anybody know who put up the stickers of our Shamrock with the crescent moon saying Iron Age Sharia law? That's mad. Steve Dixon says, Mohammed Smelly Balls from Dungannon Lols. Stop. Paddy Franks is good stuff, Ninja. Much appreciated. Online says, get salty on. Salty is a must. I reached out to Mrs. Salty a while ago. I did on YouTube and was like, get him on. Here would be great. Sure, when they look at this channel, they're like 7,000 subscribers. You're joking, Well, I'll try again and we'll see how it goes. James Sherman says, Ninja Knight awesome channel, by the way, and congrats on having so many nice people in the chat here. Yeah, it's you know what, and thanks for saying that, because there's definitely been, I don't know whether it's just our side or whether it's just people in general, but it's definitely, there's been a lovely cultivation of people in the chat that are just nice people, and I've been, really welcoming, really warm, and speak to each other with great affection. And then I've done meetups as well too, and things have gone really well there, and they've enjoyed themselves and become friends, not that. And I love to see that. I think it's a great thing. It's very positive. So thanks for shouting out the chat there. The chat do deserve an awful lot of credit for what they do here. They're so nice, so pleasant, and that's the thing. When people look in at the chat, like, of course you get a couple of glowies and stuff like that show up, but the chat like sorted out. They do really quickly amongst themselves, and they're like, this person ain't one of us. This person is in here to store trouble. So you do see that, and the chat aren't afraid to shout that out. We've got Sean Mack says, will Conor McGregor run for president? I hope so, because I think he's someone with an awful lot of influence with 10 million followers on Twitter. You might think that that's nothing, but that's an awful lot it is, and then he can definitely rock some boats there, and particularly the financial side of things. Financial side of things is a huge, huge thing. John Doyle says, thanks for mentioning GT. He helped me when no one else was calling it out. Credit where credit is due. Yeah, no, I'll definitely shout me out because he shouts out me as well too, and that's the thing. I think you need to be backing people that are in the same boat, and also as well too, someone who's done it a long time and knows the game. And again, talk to him on Twitter Spaces as well too. Has always been cordial and very friendly towards me, and there's a lot of viewpoints as well too that are shared there when it comes to these things, and that's the thing. That's the great thing about Twitter Spaces. And the last thing I probably would have gone to say is, a huge shout out to Thoughts Toby on Twitter, and also Mick O'Keefe. These are guys that have brought everyone together. It's like the Irish Justice League on Twitter at the time. At times, you see people jumping in. You've got Satirical Soldier, you've got Mick himself, you've got Toby, you've got Gavin Pepper. That's how I came across Gavin Pepper, was on that there. You've got various others that are in there. The Irish Gettr that does be in there as well too. You've got Herman Kelly that does be on there from the Irish Freedom Party, and so many other people that to be there. Derek Bloy, I think, does be on as well too, the odd time when he gets the chance. but so many people to be on there, and it's great to see so many people. And again, some of them from different parties as well too. Like on our side of the fence, they're talking. I think Maliki Stainson's been on it a couple of times as well too, and always a fascinating listen as well to those spaces. So again, big shout out to those guys. I mean, those the interviews don't happen, only for those guys. And Philip Dwyer just being there as well too. Garrod Murphy just being there as well also. So a big shout out to everyone that does be on those. Like, it's a great thing to see people that have gathered the community together and realizing, look, this isn't just one person or 10 people or 200 people. It's way more than that. And I think last week really showed that. I really do think that that's a big turning point. And like I said, if 20 million was spent by these people, can you imagine the shock and horror that they feel when they're like, this is 20 million, we're at their spout, now here we are, we're at using everything we could, we're at the painting people negatively, and they still went down and overwhelmingly voted no. You know what I mean? I'd say the apparatus has to be shaken at this moment. CST says, Ninja Knight, just getting on now. Can't believe you're still on. It's 11:30. I know. I was meant to be dipping out here an hour ago. I spent an hour talking in the chat here. They did. Oh, stop. But I had a great time anyway. And I appreciate everybody for doing it and sticking around as well too. Over 180 people sticking in and listening to me here now. Thanks for that as well. Oxford Advocate says, Keith Woods will be a great guest. Absolutely, for sure. Irish and Thursday Ninja Knight, a chat with Joe at Just Joe Radio will be good. He's on Odysee. Yeah, I'll look into that there as well too, for sure, yeah. I'm always open to talking to people, for sure. Kiki and Jasmine says, tuning in from Letterkenny, the town is ruined. Lots of anger here at what Ireland has become. You guys are so important. Like I said beforehand, and I'll say it again, country towns, super important to what's going on. A lot of the viral videos that are coming out now as well too, of people rising with anger are inspiring. So keep doing what you're doing. It's great stuff for this. And what ends up happening is it's transferred in here back to Dublin. Dublin has become like Omega City 1 from Judge Dredd. Like, it's absolutely unbelievable it is up here. And what's happening is it's transferred, and your anger in your communities is inspiring an awful lot of us up here, and they're doing the same here. So I appreciate that. Sean Max says, I think McGregor will be the only one with the money to run and challenge the governments and opposition parties candidates for Ireland. Absolutely, for sure. Absolutely, for sure. I agree. He's the only money man that's here in this country. Like, you have to look at these things realistically and financially. Like, there ain't anybody else out there that's standing up and saying things. Colin Farrell isn't saying anything. Bono's not saying anything. He's not gonna, obviously, as well too. Barry Keoghan is doing weird photo shoots. He's done. He ain't gonna be coming back here saying what's what here in this country. He ain't gonna do it. So McGregor's the only one. I haven't seen or heard much from Colin Farrell. I certainly hope he would show up at some stage of the game. I'd like to see Liam Neeson. You know what I mean? I'd like to see these people that have been there. I'd like to see Brendan Gleeson. It's not going to happen from Brendan Gleeson, because Brendan Gleeson was quoted only a couple of weeks ago saying, if Ireland has become like America, that's a huge no. That's a red flag there. And then you see Donald Gleeson's getting on as well too. You're like, English Chairman says, Irish Justice League, there simply cannot be an Irish Aquaman. It would be too funny. That'd be great. Irish Aquaman wouldn't be a bad show. That's a good idea. We're good swimmers here in Ireland, So anyway, guys, at 3 hours, I'm going to say good night to you. I'm going to say have a lovely weekend. Have a blessed weekend. Happy St. Patrick's Day on Sunday, and have a good time. Keep yourself safe as well too. Keep your eyes open, and I'll be bringing out more videos as well, hopefully during the week, and I'll be keeping you updated with everything and anything that I see. Also, as well too, don't be afraid as well too. I love the fact that the chat send suggestions as well too. Don't be afraid to send me suggestions on things that are happening that you think that might be something that's on finger on the pulse that I've missed or anything like that. Sometimes I'll do things that might be a bit more obscure. So I do appreciate everybody that jumps in and lets me know what they're thinking. So anyway, I'll see you in 2 weeks' time, 29th of March. I'm looking forward to it, and I hope you are too. Thanks for coming in here tonight. Make sure you drop a like on the video. It always helps. It does with the channel. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Always helps as well to ensure that you are liking the video, and make sure that like sticks, because that's another thing people have been saying to me as well too, that the likes don't seem to be sticking. So again, thanks to everybody. Great results last weekend. Let's keep driving forward. Let's make sure that we're electing people that love Ireland and that are going to take Ireland forward in the future. And let's make Ireland great and safe again. Look,